Chapter 2795. Dugu Aegean calmly ascended the arena. The two strongest personal disciples, the Overlord and the Elysian Sun, had no choice but to make way for Dugu Aegean. This is the supreme sword intent of the Swordplay Manual. It's a path of indestructible destruction. The scarlet-cloaked Zenith Supremacy laughed. His eyes brightened. I didn't waste my time coming here. The large-eyed Supremacy on the left was expressionless. He wore this expression every day, making him seem cold. Brother Zenith, you're going to accept Dugu Aegean as your disciple. Congratulations. Zenith Supremacy had a great influence in the Dark Shadow Palace. He was a veteran among the Supremacies, and he could even survive a fight with a great Supremacy. Everyone respected him a lot. Congratulations, Brother Zenith. Dugu Aegean has grasped the basics of the Swordplay Manual. As long as he has a powerful heavenly divine weapon, his strength will soar. I wanted to compete with him, but since Brother Zenith has spoken, let's forget about it. The 5 Supremacies laughed and chatted, giving up on the idea of accepting Dugu Aegean as their personal disciple. Die, people of the Dark Shadow Palace. The black-horned demon launched an attack as soon as Dugu Aegean entered the arena. Thunder roared, and the whole arena was filled with terrifying ripples of energy. It was like a raging sea, and it surged forward wave after wave. If one couldn't hold on, one would be torn to shreds. This is the sound wave attack that the black-horned demon specializes in. A close-range attack is coming. The black-horned demon had rich combat experience. With a roar, the sound wave attack hit the vanguard. He split into 3 clones, which were distributed in 4 positions around Dugu Aegean, and attacked together. Whoosh! Whoosh! A crescent moon-like blade aura slashed across the sky. When the sound wave attack came, Dugu Aegean lightly stomped his feet. Sword energy formed a shield around his body. His expression was cold. Die! 2 sword lights, one black and one white, shot out from his eyes. They appeared one after the other. Yin-yang kill. The 2 sword lights formed a pattern and slashed at the black-horned demon. This is the first killing move of the Swordplay Manual. Zenith Supremacy laughed. What a genius! When the other Supremacies saw this, they also admitted that Dugu Aegean was powerful. He had grasped the first killing move of the sword mantra, the fusion of 2 types of energy. With the increase in power, dealing with a 5th-order heavenly god realm black-horned devil wasn't too difficult, especially since the black-horned devil didn't have any protective treasures. The Tyrant King and the Elysian Sun looked solemn. The power of that sword strike surpassed the strength of a 5th-order heavenly god realm. Even they wouldn't be able to block it easily. Dugu Aegean came down from the arena and stood quietly on the side. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the arena, the black-horned Demon King's body was reconstructed once again. He still wore the expression of someone who had died. Black-horned Demon, you are very disappointing. If you die a few more times, you will really be finished. A faint voice fell into the black-horned demon head's ears. The black-horned demon head's eyes turned red. This is unfair. I've lost my weapons and treasures, and I only have less than 50% of my usual fighting prowess. If you have the ability, return my weapons and treasures to me. Watch how I kill them. This is our rule. You should wait and see how to deal with the second one. Lin Fei recognized that sword strike. A killing move from the sword cannon. This person is really suitable to learn the sword. He was born to wield a sword. Even though the black-horned Demon King's strength was greatly reduced, he still managed to kill him with a single strike. He has a lot of potential. In 100,000 years, he might become a venerable lord. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes. This was a good opponent. As Dugu Aegean descended, the Tyrant King, the Elysian Sun, and even the others dodged. The Tyrant King stepped up. Black-horned Demon Head, die. The tyrant king was displeased that Dugu had stolen his thunder. The black-horned demon head was unlucky. Boom! Boom! The roars became louder. War God Fist. A terrifying phantom appeared behind the tyrant king, suppressing the black-horned demon head on the spot. The tyrant king's speed and strength soared, and a punch landed on the black-horned demon head's body. The black-horned demon head was sent flying, and his body exploded in midair. What a good tyrant king! He condensed the war god's phantom so quickly and increased his strength. Heavenly Heart laughed. The third person to step up was the Elysian Sun. The Elysian Sun was even more straightforward. After stepping up, he summoned the Lord. One was a demon, and the other was a Buddha. Naturally, the demon was unlucky. Under the illumination of the holy light, the black-horned demon head strength was suppressed to the lowest level, and he had almost no chance to retaliate. He was suppressed by the Elysian Sun all the way, and his body continuously emitted smoke. He was in a sorry state. Finally, the Elysian Sun used the holy light cross slash and killed the black-horned demon head. The first 3 personal disciples all displayed impressive strength. They attacked ferociously the moment they stepped up, suppressing the black-horned demon head all the way. The black-horned demon head was extremely unlucky. After the 4th personal disciple stepped up, the black-horned demon head wasn't so unlucky, and he was finally able to display his skills. He used a tyrannical saber technique, and he used a tyrannical and vicious technique. The black-horned demon head's powerful recovery ability also made the black-horned demon head perform even more crazily and violently. The 4th personal disciple spent some time and barely managed to defeat the black-horned demon head. To the heavenly god elders watching from the side, defeating the black-horned demon head was already pretty good. After all, there was a certain gap between their strength. However, being able to fight someone with a higher cultivation level meant that the black-horned demon head was very powerful. A pro-disciple like Dugu would only appear a few times in 100 years. But this time, a total of 3 had appeared, which could be considered as a very rare occurrence. Indeed, the next personal disciples were much weaker overall. Some of them were killed by the black-horned demon head the moment they stepped up. They couldn't even block a single attack from the black-horned demon head. Of the 53 personal disciples, other than the first few who performed amazingly, the rest were not worth mentioning. They also lasted for different amounts of time. In the end, they were all killed by the black-horned demon head. This was also a kind of training for the personal disciples of the Dark Shadow Palace. The black-horned demon head was just a small demon in the demon country, not a big demon. If he encountered a demon venerable or a great demon venerable, that would be terrifying. If he couldn't even deal with a small demon, how could he fight a big demon or even a more powerful demon venerable? It's finally Lin Fei's turn, Elder Luo Xian said, but he still had a worried look on his face. His previous performances were too outstanding. Why is this guy the last to fight? Elder Yang Zhan narrowed his eyes. You can't say that. This is also a kind of technique. Dugu Yijian and the rest have performed outstandingly. If they had followed behind, they would have been overshadowed. But if they were the last to fight, it would be different. That's true. The Sky God Elders didn't pay much attention to Lin Fei's ascension to the arena. Of the dozens of personal disciples before him, only a few had performed outstandingly. This made the Sky God Elders shake their heads. They weren't too interested in Lin Fei, who was the last to fight. I heard that this is the physical realm master. Unfortunately, he is a body-tempering cultivator. This is much more difficult than the other path. Zenith, Supremacy, shook his head. Everyone knew that a body-tempering cultivator was a body-tempering cultivator, but this path was difficult to cultivate. He's making his move. The black-horned demon head pounced forward, and 2 crescent-blade auras slashed down. Lin Fei was very calm. He extended his right hand, and a faint bubble could be seen on his right hand. He struck down with his palm. Chapter 2796. When Lin Fei stepped onto the stage, none of the heavenly god elders felt that he would do better than the other direct disciples. The Blackhorn Devil Lord was a little devil, merely a fifth-order heavenly god realm cultivator. However, in the saint spirit world, the Blackhorn Devil Lord's influence was quite great. None of the heavenly god realm cultivators in the same realm could subdue him. The big and small demons from the demon nation were not to be trifled with. Even the previous direct disciples could not kill the Blackhorn demon. This Lin Fei, whose background was not simple, would probably be the same. It would be difficult for him to last for too long. The Blackhorn demon's speed is top-notch. It's a little too late for him to make a move when he's already closed in. A heavenly god elder shook his head. The big and small demons of the demon nation are most proficient in speed. When encountering a demon, one must defend against the other party's speed. This Lin Fei will probably only last for a few breaths. Lin Fei's reaction speed was much slower. However, as Lin Fei struck down with his palm, the 6 high lords were shocked. The 6 supreme lords were moved, recognizing it. After Lin Fei struck, a huge bubble enveloped the Blackhorn demon. At the same time, the 2 crescent blade lights were sucked into it. The blade lights landed on the bubble, but it produced a huge elasticity and did not break. Die! Lin Fei shouted. The huge bubble exploded in front of everyone, and the Blackhorn demon inside was killed by the bubble's power. He actually killed the Blackhorn demon. What move was that just now? Why haven't I seen it before? The heavenly god elders looked at each other, dumbfounded. This was the first time they had seen Lin Fei's attack, and they had no impression of it. It was as if it had appeared out of thin air. Good lad, I didn't expect you to be hiding such a talent, Zenith High Lord said with a smile. What a good move, Sealing Soul Severing Palm. I haven't seen this 9th level, Sacred Soul Secret, technique killer move in a long time. Only a few people in the entire Dark Shadow Palace know how to use it. Naturally, no one has any impression of it. This time Zenith's supremacy didn't muffle the sound and directly released it. This time, the divine elder heard it clearly. Everyone had a blank look on their faces. After a brief moment of confusion, someone remembered. This is the Sealing Soul Severing Palm. I've heard that one needs a 3rd order heavenly god realm physique to learn it. A heavenly god realm elder reacted, his eyes filled with disbelief. This is unbelievable. It's said that once you reach the 3rd stage of this Saint Soul Level 9 secret technique, its power will be extremely powerful. What an eye-opener. In front of that bubble, Elder Tianqian also felt a trace of pressure. If one could cultivate this sacred spirit 9th level secret art of the body transformation school to the large success stage, that would be extremely good. However, it was usually very difficult. One might be able to reach the entry stage, but reaching the large success stage was too difficult. All along, the number of heavenly god powerhouses in the Dark Shadow Palace who specialized in the body tempering, sacred spirit, secret skill, killing, move could be counted on one hand. It was too difficult. It would take a lot of time and resources. Forget it. This kid seems to be cultivating the sacred cloud dragon physique. Judging from his aura, he should have cultivated it to the 3rd stage, which is a 3rd order heavenly god realm physique. The heavenly god realm elder's eyes lit up. Being able to kill the Blackhorn Devil in one move, he could be ranked in the top 5 among the 53 personal disciples. The Sealing Soul Severing Palm can be cultivated to the entry stage at such a young age. If he does well, he might be able to cultivate it to the 2nd stage in the future. At that time, he will be able to make a name for himself. Hi, Lord Zenith laughed. Lin Fei's performance only surprised them a little. Only someone who had reached the large success stage of the body tempering school was worthy of their attention. The current Lin Fei was still far from that level. Even though he had entered the entry stage, compared to Dugu Yijian, the Overlord, and the Elysian children, his potential wasn't that great. Dugu Yijian only glanced at Lin Fei and didn't pay any more attention to him. There was a limit to the potential of a body-tempering school cultivator. Now they seemed to have boundless potential and could kill a fifth-order, heavenly god, realm Blackhorn devil. After 100,000 years, any one of them would be stronger than Lin Fei. It would be very, very difficult for Lin Fei to catch up to them. Soon, their gazes landed on the High Lords. The most exciting moment had arrived. Among the 53 personal disciples, who would be lucky enough to enter the High Lord's tutelage, everyone was waiting anxiously. However, there were also a few who were very calm. For example, Dugu Yijian, who had entered the High Lord Zenith realm with his sword technique. No matter which High Lord it was, they would be very pleased. Dugu Yijian, you can enter my tutelage. High Lord Zenith realm smiled at Dugu Yijian. As long as Dugu Yijian agreed, he would immediately become High Lord Zenith realm elder's personal disciple and truly have the backing of a High Lord or Heavenly God. I'm willing. Dugu Yijian actually wanted to enter the High Lord's tutelage. Unfortunately, the Dark Shadow Palace's High Lords had no interest in accepting disciples and rarely showed themselves. High Lord Zenith Realm Elder was a veteran heavenly god in the Dark Shadow Palace. He had deep influence in the palace and was on good terms with several High Lords. There were even rumors that High Lord Zenith Realm Elder might advance to Great Lord within 1,000,000 years. Dugu Yijian agreed. Ha ha ha. High Lord Zenith Realm Elder laughed. Let's go. With a wave of his hand, Dugu Yijian was brought away. High Lord Skyheart looked at the Elysian Heavenly Son. Elysian Heavenly Son, are you willing to enter my tutelage? Yes. The Elysian Heavenly Son left with High Lord Skyheart. High Lord Giant Eyes chose the hegemon. He had a deep understanding of energy and was very suitable for the hegemon to cultivate. It was also convenient to teach the hegemon. The first 3 disciples were chosen. Many High Lords were envious, but they couldn't compete. A High Lord could choose a disciple, and a disciple could choose a personal disciple. The personal disciples were the clearest about what they were good at. Only 5 of the 6 High Lords chose a personal disciple. None of the remaining personal disciples chose a personal disciple, including Lin Fei, who had killed the Blackhorn demon with 1 palm strike. Lin Fei's potential was limited. Body-tempering style cultivation was like a bottomless pit. Even they couldn't afford it. Naturally, none of the High Lords were willing to choose him. What's going on? None of the elders chose Lin Fei. Elder Luo Xian had been worried about Lin Fei. Elder Luo Xian couldn't help but feel happy for Lin Fei after he used the soul-severing sealing hand to kill the Blackhorn demon. He didn't expect that in the end, no High Lord would choose Lin Fei as a disciple. In the end, even the Heavenly God Realm Elder gave up on Lin Fei. Elder Yang Zhan shook his head and said, Lin Fei's potential is not bad. Unfortunately, he is a body-tempering style cultivator. If he wants to cultivate, he will have to spend a lot of effort. Any personal disciple here will surpass Lin Fei in 100,000 years. No, 30,000 to 40,000 years. They would rather choose another personal disciple. Doesn't that mean that Lin Fei will be left alone? Elder Luo Xian had brought Lin Fei here. He naturally didn't want Lin Fei to fail. In the Dark Shadow Palace, he had brought Lin Fei with him. If Lin Fei performed outstandingly, he would also be proud. Very quickly, 52 of the 53 direct disciples were selected. Only Lin Fei was left. There were still Heavenly God Realm Elders, but none of them chose him. They couldn't afford it. Lin Fei was speechless. It turns out that the body-tempering style isn't popular. Lin Fei was about to give up. Boom! Chapter 2797. Just when everyone thought they had given up on Lin Fei, Boom! A majestic aura descended from the sky, condensing into a black figure. The heavenly god realm elders in the dark shadow hall staggered under this aura. Great sovereign! One of the heavenly god realm elders exclaimed. Everyone was dumbfounded, staring at the black figure in the dark shadow hall in a daze. The aura exuding from this figure was even stronger than a great sovereign. In the entire dark shadow palace, only a great sovereign had such an aura. This scene was too sudden. A great sovereign had descended. No one thought that the great sovereign came for Lin Fei. Perhaps he just came to take a look. Great sovereign! All the heavenly god realm elders respectfully greeted. When the figure completely condensed, it was a tall and sturdy man. Only then did everyone recognize the identity of this great sovereign lord. That's great sovereign Han Tian, ah. There were 5 great sovereigns in the dark shadow palace. 4 of them cultivated the emperor's heart force, while the last one walked the path of physique cultivation. Compared to the other 4 great sovereigns, great sovereign Han Tian rarely appeared in the dark shadow palace. It was said that great sovereign Han Tian often went out to search for physique cultivation materials, rarely appearing in the dark shadow palace. Great sovereign! Lin Fei sensed the majestic aura coming from great sovereign Han Tian. This is a physique cultivation master. Lin Fei was most sensitive to this person's aura. This person's physique had reached 9th order heavenly god realm. When everyone recognized great sovereign Han Tian, they became even more respectful. It was said that among the 5 great sovereigns, great sovereign Han Tian was ranked first, just a step away from becoming a hierarch. It was rare for great sovereign Han Tian to come here. It was said that this great sovereign Han Tian had no interest in accepting disciples. His disciples were few and far between, and even if there were any, their strength was mediocre. No matter how outstanding they were in the early stages, they were no match for those heavenly god realm masters who cultivated the emperor's heart force. Little guy, are you willing to enter this father's sect? The burly grand monarch heaven shaker, who exuded a fierce aura, swept his gaze across the crowd and said something that no one had expected. I'm willing. As for those heavenly god elders who cultivated the power of an emperor's heart, Lin Fei didn't have much interest in them. The only thing he didn't expect was that the last great sovereign would come, and it was even a peak great sovereign who cultivated the body transformation path. This backing was not bad. Where do we go? With a wave of his hand, Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker unleashed his power and took Lin Fei away. Everything happened too quickly. That brat Lin Fei is really lucky. Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker. He's the strongest of the 5 Grand Monarchs. This luck is really unparalleled. The heavenly god elders were all dumbfounded. In the shortest amount of time possible, they spread the news. Did my eyes deceive me just now? Elder Luo Xian's expression flickered. It seems that Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker took Lin Fei as his disciple. Elder Yang Zhan also took a deep breath. You're right. Lin Fei really became Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker's personal disciple. This is really unexpected. Both of them sighed. A Grand Monarch. Even if Lin Fei's strength stagnated in the future, with Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker support, no one in the entire Dark Shadow Palace would dare to find trouble with Lin Fei. This was like reaching the heavens in a single bound. Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker had accepted a disciple. The news spread in an instant. This Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker had not accepted a personal disciple for tens of thousands of years. Among the 5 Grand Monarchs, he was the strongest. However, the strength of his disciples was relatively average. As time passed, no disciple was willing to accept him. When the Dark Shadow Palace's high lords heard the news, they were all shocked. What was going on? Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker had actually accepted a personal disciple. After a brief shock, the high lords returned to normal. There was only one body tempering school Grand Monarch in the Dark Shadow Palace. The proportion of body-tempering school Grand Monarchs in the Dark Shadow Palace was too low. Although Lin Fei's potential was not bad, with his third-order Heavenly God Realm physique and the Sealing Soul Severing Palm, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens for him to master the second stage. When Zenith, Venerable, and the others heard the news, they smiled and did not pay too much attention to it. This Grand Monarch Heavenshaker's personal disciple was not very capable. Most of his personal disciples were just coolies. At most, they would take on the identity of a Grand Monarch's personal disciple. Lin Fei was brought to a mountain peak by Grand Monarch Heavenshaker. This mountain peak was shrouded in clouds and mist. Layers upon layers of array formations were set up. You're very good. At such a young age, you've already mastered the first stage of the Sealing Soul Severing Palm and the third stage of the Sacred Cloud Dragon Physique. Among the body tempering school's experts, you're considered quite good. Grand Monarch Heavenshaker brought Lin Fei to a palace. For us body tempering school experts, cultivation is more difficult than anyone else's. Since you've become my disciple, I hope you can work hard. This is my greeting gift to you. Grand Monarch Heavenshaker waved his hand and threw out a storage ring. Inside is a set of materials for the fourth stage of the Sacred Cloud Dragon Physique, Grand Monarch Heavenshaker said. Grand Monarch Heavenshaker said, if my disciples want to grow stronger, they'll have to rely on themselves. If you need anything, you can trade for it with me. All right, I'll tell you about the rules of our sect later. Grand Monarch Heavenshaker disappeared from Lin Fei's sight. Lin Fei was speechless. This is a Grand Monarch. The Grand Monarch who became his disciple seems a little too shameless. Lin Fei felt as if he had become the disciple of a fake master. Junior brother Lin Fei, I'm your eldest senior brother, Zhongguang. After Grand Monarch Heavenshaker left, a black-robed, middle-aged man walked in from outside the palace. He looked quite old, and the first thing he did was introduce himself. Eldest senior brother. Lin Fei cupped his fists in greeting and secretly observed this eldest senior brother, a seventh-order Heavenly God Realm physical body, other than Grand Monarch Heavenshaker. This eldest senior brother was the only one Lin Fei had seen who had advanced further on the body-tempering path. His surging physical strength continuously stirred the surrounding void. Now that you've become Master's disciple, we're brothers. Chongyang laughed. It has been 10,000 years since Master has accepted a personal disciple. Heavenly God Chongyang was also shocked. He had been cultivating when he received an order from his master that there was a new personal disciple with a third-order Heavenly God Realm physical body cultivation. He was stunned for a long time. It can't be right. Chongyang brought Lin Fei to meet Grand Monarch Heavenshaker's other 3 personal disciples. This is your second senior apprentice brother Yu Shi, third senior apprentice brother Tianing, and fourth senior apprentice brother Wenren Zhengong. Heavenly God, Chongyang introduced. This is your fifth junior apprentice brother Lin Fei. Lin Fei saluted them one by one. Don't you find it strange why there are only 4 personal disciples under Master? Including you, there are only 5. Heavenly God, Chongyang's Lil Dong said, our Master has no interest in teaching disciples, and the body-tempering path is even harder to cultivate. His personal disciples are also few and far between. The other 3 senior apprentice brothers smiled wryly. All 3 of them were at 6th order Heavenly God Realm, cultivating different physique cultivation techniques. Although there aren't many disciples under our Master, there is one thing that we can guarantee. No one dares to bully our Master. Second senior apprentice brother Yu Shi said, straightforwardly, if anyone dares to bully us, just the few of us are enough to make them suffer. Chapter 2798. Lin Fei had become Grand Monarch Heavenshaker's disciple. From that moment on, Lin Fei officially became a true direct disciple, the only one among the 53 direct disciples to become a disciple of a great senior. It was unknown how many personal disciples sighed. What a lucky bastard. Although they were envious, they quickly returned to normal. Although great Venerable Han Tian's disciples were amazing, compared to them in the future, they were far too lacking. Everyone knew that the body tempering path was the most difficult to cultivate. Among great Venerable Han Tian's disciples, other than a great venerable, there had never been a venerable lord. Currently, the strongest disciple was merely a 7th order, heavenly god realm, heavenly god realm, heavenly god Chongyang. It was one thing to look down on him, but no one would say it to his face. Everyone knew that Grand Monarch Heavenshaker was the most protective, whether it was the exalted monarch or the other 4 Grand Monarchs. None of them dared to offend Grand Monarch Heavenshaker. They were all a bunch of martial arts maniacs. Junior brother Lin Fei, this is where you cultivate. Time can be accelerated. Heavenly God Chongyang brought Lin Fei to a mountain peak. Every disciple of our great monarch is responsible for managing a nation. Heavenly God Chongyang pointed at the country below. Don't worry. Master gave me 10,000 years to prepare. In the next 10,000 years, you can cultivate in peace. You don't need to be responsible. Lin Fei really didn't expect great senior's disciple to have such a request. Deep in his heart, he really liked it. Freedom. This was purely a free-range state. Also, since you've broken through once, you can go to the sect to receive the reward left behind by Master. Heavenly God Chongyang continued, your kingdom is now adjacent to the massacre God Court. They are a bunch of lunatics, so you have to be careful. Heavenly God Chongyang's eldest brother was very meticulous. After making arrangements for Lin Fei, Huang Xiaolong reminded Lin Fei of a few things and left him a communication bracelet. If anything were to happen, Huang Xiaolong would rush over immediately. Although Huang Xiaolong was only a 7th order heavenly god realm cultivator, his battle prowess was comparable to an 8th order heavenly god realm. As long as he didn't run into a powerful, venerable lord, Huang Xiaolong could do whatever he wanted. This master of mine is purely herding sheep. Every one of them counts. After heavenly god Chongyang left, Lin Fei couldn't help but smile wryly. Fortunately, I don't have to cultivate in the City of Shadows. I can save myself a lot of trouble. Lin Fei quickly returned to normal. 10,000 years of cultivation, coupled with time acceleration, can be done step by step. Fortunately, Lin Fei's physical body had some achievements. Otherwise, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens if he wanted to cultivate his physique cultivation technique alone. And so, Lin Fei settled down in the Cloud Kingdom. The Cloud Sea country's ruler was a 7th order heavenly god realm master, relying on the divine weapon given by the Dark Shadow Palace, as well as a 9th level Saint Soul secret art. He was the Cloud Sea country's #1 expert. After Lin Fei arrived, the king of Yunhai personally came to pay him a visit. A personal disciple of a great sovereign master had a much higher status than a country king. Who knew if a personal disciple would interfere? Naturally, the Yunhai country king had to be careful. Lin Fei was very polite and did not mention anything about interfering in the Cloud Sea country's affairs. This made the king of Yunhai country heave a sigh of relief. It was good that Lin Fei did not interfere. If he really did, there was nothing he could do. In the next 10,000 years, Lin Fei would not interfere in the Cloud Sea country's affairs. Not interested, Lin Fei decided to cultivate diligently. With the items provided by Grand Monarch Han Tian to avoid suspicion, Lin Fei decided to cultivate in seclusion. He simulated the sacred cloud dragon traversing physique to 4th order heavenly god realm. Raising my physical body to 5th order heavenly God realm in 10,000 years isn't too much. Lin Fei planned to follow the rules and not arouse any suspicion. Under the time acceleration, Lin Fei began his long cultivation journey. In other people's eyes, Lin Fei used several hundred years to raise his physical body to 4th order heavenly God realm. After that, he began to temper himself in the Dark Shadow Palace's territory. According to Heavenly God, Chongyang's eldest senior apprentice brother, if a body-tempering cultivator wanted to grow stronger, the key was to improve their physical body. The higher they climbed, the stronger they would become. If they wanted to grow stronger, they would have to go out and explore to obtain the necessary materials. Body-tempering cultivators had to spend a large amount of resources to reach their current level. There were no shortcuts. This was also the reason why Huang Xiaolong's master had yet to produce a High Lord. Looking at the disciples of the other Grand Monarchs, they all had High Lords. Even though eldest senior apprentice, Brother Chongyang, was no weaker than a High Lord, there was still a gap between them that could not be made up for. Lin Fei decided to travel around the Saint Spirit world to experience the local customs. Time passed. 3,000 years ago, Dugu Yijian, a disciple of Dark Shadow Palace's High Lord Zenith God Realm, saw his strength soar by leaps and bounds. At 5th order Heavenly God Realm, he could kill an average 7th order Heavenly God Realm enemy, attracting the attention of many. The Elysian Son of Heaven, who became High Lord Zenith God Realm's disciple, cultivated the Viro Kana move, causing his strength to soar, defeating the Devil Lord. His fame soared, catching up to Dugu Yijian in the Dark Shadow Palace. The other direct disciples displayed their strength one after another. Lin Fei, who was the center of attention a few moments ago, had disappeared without a trace. It was harder than ascending to the heavens for a body-tempering cultivator to improve their strength. 8,000 years ago, Dugu Yijian's sword technique reached a high level. A single sword strike from him could shake the world, reaching 6th order Heavenly God Realm. 10,000 years ago, Dugu Yijian's cultivation reached 7th order Heavenly God Realm. Such a rapid cultivation speed made many Dark Shadow Palace's geniuses shake their heads, exclaiming that he was too monstrous. Dugu Yijian also became the most dazzling existence. At the very least, in these 10,000 years, no one could compare to Dugu Yijian. There was even a High Lord who admitted that within 500,000 years, Dugu Yijian would definitely become a High Lord, becoming the pride of the Dark Shadow Palace. To become a High Lord, one's cultivation in the 8 worlds, Heavenly God Realm, was a must. Other than that, one also needed to master a Saint Spirit Realm 10th layer secret technique. This was not an easy task. While the Dark Shadow Palace's personal disciples were showing off their might, Lin Fei spent 10,000 years eating, drinking, and playing. Lin Fei didn't care much about the personal disciples who entered the Dark Shadow Palace at the same time. 7th order Heavenly God Realm, becoming a High Lord in 500,000 years. Lin Fei didn't have anything to be envious of. As amazing as a 7th order Heavenly God Realm was, it was just that unless one mastered a Saint Spirit Realm 10th layer secret technique, they would be able to suppress all cultivators below the High Lord Realm. In these 10,000 years, Lin Fei didn't slack off either. At the end of the 1,000 years, Lin Fei returned to the Dark Shadow Palace and received a reward from his master. From now on, he would have to rely on himself. At the end of the 8,000 years, Lin Fei's physical body broke through to 5th order Heavenly God Realm. This period of time wasn't considered long nor slow, it was just right. In general, a 5th order Heavenly God Realm needed 20 to 30,000 years to advance to 6th order Heavenly God Realm. Lin Fei decided to use 25,000 years to break through. He didn't want to reveal the secret of his proud Heaven 12th layer superbody to others. At the end of the 800 years, Lin Fei obtained an even more perfect version of his proud Heaven 12th layer superbody. Chapter 2799. Cloud Kingdom. Hoo! On a mountain peak, surrounded by a sea of clouds, a thunderous sound exploded over and over again. The huge mountain was shaking as if it was going to collapse at any moment. On the peak of the mountain, a black figure sat cross-legged. A huge whirlpool appeared above his head, and endless heaven and earth energy flowed into the black figure's body. Around the black figure, the void kept collapsing and healing. It didn't stop for even a moment. Hoo! The black figure suddenly opened his eyes. Two cold lights shot out from his deep eyes and tore open the void. Formless energy shrouded the void around the black hole, causing the void to be unable to recover. The recultivated, proud, Heaven 12 levels tyrant body is indeed awesome. It's even stronger than before. He used a few hundred years to create a more perfect, proud, Heaven 12 levels tyrant body. Lin Fei had been recultivating proud, Heaven 12 levels tyrant body for the past 10,000 years. Every time he cultivated, he could feel how strong the new proud Heaven tyrant body was. With my current physical strength, I can easily blast open the void of Saint Spirit World and maintain it for a certain period of time. I couldn't do it before. Lin Fei reached out and tore the void. Rip! The void was torn open with his bare hands. Now, Lin Fei's bare hands could shake the void, and he could maintain that for a long time. This wasn't enough for Lin Fei. This kid is really leisurely. Wenran Zhengong came to Cloud Kingdom in white. That's right. He is the most low-key pro-disciple this time around, and has almost been forgotten by the other pro-disciples. Sky Shadow said with a smile, "Our little junior brother is different from ordinary people." The two senior brothers came. Lin Fei came out from his cultivation to welcome them personally. "Senior brothers, what brings you here?" Lin Fei asked with a smile on his face. "We're going to do something, so we came to see you, the most low-profile direct disciple." Wenran Zhengong laughed. "Junior brother seems to be in good condition." Lin Fei smiled and invited the two senior brothers to sit inside. During these 10,000 years, Lin Fei basically did not leave his house. The first 5,000 years were more frequent, and the last 5,000 years were spent cultivating. He did not pay much attention to the outside world. "Brother, it's been 10,000 years. When do you plan to challenge the Holy Spirit Palace?" This was the second time when Ren Jinong saw Lin Fei, and he could feel that his brother's aura had grown stronger. This was the rhythm of a great increase in strength. "I heard that there is no time limit for challenging the Holy Spirit Palace," Lin Fei said. "I remember that you can go within 1,000,000 years at the latest." Empyrean God Sky Shadow didn't know whether to laugh or to cry. "You really do have 1,000,000 years of time. Are you trying to break through to the 8th floor of the Holy Spirit Palace in one go? Good preparation is the key to success." Lin Fei was in no hurry to challenge the Holy Spirit Palace. Every force had a Holy Spirit Palace. Only by passing the assessment of the Holy Spirit Palace would one's strength be truly recognized. The combat strength of the Holy Spirit Palace was very balanced and accurate. After passing the assessment of the Holy Spirit Palace, there was no doubt about one's strength. This had become the most important thing to everyone. "Senior brothers, where are you going?" "My Cloud Sea Nation is rather remote. Could it be that you are going to the other continents?" Lin Fei asked curiously. The Holy Spirit world had 5 continents, and each of them was very large. Other than the 5 continents, there were also some smaller continents. But compared to the 5 continents, they were insignificant. "We accepted the Dark Shadow Palace's mission to kill a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Demon. The reward is 200,000 contribution points." Wenran Zhengong said with a smile, "For personal disciples like us to improve our strength, we have to complete all kinds of missions. Killing demons is undoubtedly the best choice. The contribution points are high, and the difficulty is not that high." Empyrean god Sky Shadow said with a smile. Lin Fei thought about it and felt that it made sense. For cultivators of the body refinement path, demons from the Devil Nation were indeed much easier to deal with. Congratulations on your successful return, senior brothers. The two of them nodded with a smile. Junior brother, your Cloud Sea Nation is next to the Massacre God Court. You will be managing the Cloud Sea Nation soon, so you must be careful of those madmen from the Massacre God Court. Don't be fooled by our three top forces' peaceful appearance. In fact, we are constantly fighting each other in private. It's just that we don't want to attract their attention. Wenrin Zhengong reminded Huang Xiaolong, the conflicts between our three top forces are very cruel. Our masters usually won't interfere unless it's a critical moment. You must be careful. Don't fall into other people's schemes. This is especially true for your Cloud Sea mountain range, where the fighting never stops. Lin Fei nodded. I understand. Huang Xiaolong watched as his two senior brothers left. Lin Fei still attached great importance to the words of his two senior brothers. It was inevitable that the top forces would fight fiercely. The higher-ups wouldn't pay too much attention to the deaths of their disciples. In their eyes, this was also a kind of experience. Personal disciples were slightly better off, as their masters would intervene at the critical moment. As for inner disciples and the like, they were a far cry from that. A moment of carelessness could lead to their deaths. Once the 10,000 years were up, Lin Fei started to be in charge of the Cloud Sea country. According to his senior brothers, the most important thing in managing a country was to manage the various special materials in the country. As for the rest, there was no need to care. If there were experts who caused trouble, they would just kill them. If they couldn't win, the Divine Realm Elders would naturally intervene. Lin Fei focused on this area. In the entire Cloud Sea country, the area that the higher-ups paid the most attention to was a mine with special materials. The Dark Shadow Palace had arranged for many experts to guard the mine. This was what Lin Fei was most concerned about. Time flew by. Lin Fei quickly spent 30,000 years in the Cloud Sea country. After 30,000 years, Lin Fei had completely recultivated the unyielding sky 12 levels overlord physique. His foundation was very solid, and the flow of his qi and blood could easily blast open the void. During these 30,000 years, the Cloud Sea country was very peaceful. Lin Fei almost never made a move. Occasionally, there would be a few outsiders who acted recklessly, but before Lin Fei could do anything, they were killed by the experts of the Cloud Sea country. On the Dark Shadow Palace's side, people from the Sacred Spirit Palace continuously succeeded in their challenges. The most powerful ones were Dugu Ijian, Elysian Sun, Overlord, etc. They were the first to pass the 7th level of the Sacred Spirit Palace. Their true strength was at the 7th level of the Sacred Spirit Palace. This was the most outstanding batch of disciples. After they passed the Sacred Spirit Palace, their status in the Dark Shadow Palace rose to the sky. If it wasn't for the time being, they could even fight for the position of Elder. Chapter 2800. Dark Shadow Palace, Cloud Sea Country. 60,000 years had passed since Lin Fei started guarding the Cloud Sea Country. For people at their level of cultivation, 60,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. In these 60,000 years, Lin Fei had cultivated the sacred cloud dragon, traversing physique to the 7th stage. His Heaven 12 Layers super physique was still at the 7th stage, and improvement was not very fast. Lin Fei was not in a hurry. After recultivating his Heaven 12 Layers super physique, even if it was only at the 7th stage, he was confident that he could fight against an 8th order heavenly god realm reverend. In these 60,000 years, Lin Fei had not been idle. Many of the books that the system had copied described the Saint Spirit World's secrets. When he had nothing to do, Lin Fei would flip through these books. The Dark Shadow Palace had collected quite a number of records regarding the battles between heavenly gods. Lin Fei had a very deep understanding of the battles between heavenly gods. After recultivating his Heaven 12 Layers super physique, Lin Fei's strength continued to rise. In these 60,000 years, Lin Fei had not made a move. He kept a low profile and maintained a mysterious aura. The Cloud Sea mountain range. This huge mountain range lay between the Cloud Sea country and the Blood Fiend country. The issue of ownership had always been a problem. The Cloud Sea mountain range produced all kinds of resources. Hence, there had always been battles between the two sides. It was either you attacking my mining area or I attacking yours. These 30,000 years had been extremely peaceful. There were also fewer battles. However, everyone knew that there would always be battles in the Cloud Sea mountain range, unless one day someone could control the mountain range. Currently, no one could control the Cloud Sea mountain range. Be it the Dark Shadow Palace or the Massacre Court, they would not agree to it. Offending these two giants would only result in death. That's the Cloud Sea country's Ice Sea Stone Mine. It was a dark and windy night. Several figures quietly descended on a mountain peak. Hundreds of millions of li away, there was a huge mining area. There were many mining soldiers inside and outside, and the entire mining area was heavily guarded. In the dark of the night, ripples appeared above the mining area. It's been 40,000 years. The Cloud Sea mountain range has been peaceful for too long. A middle-aged man in a scarlet cloak stood on the peak of the mountain. I heard that Cloud Sea country no longer has a powerful master. This time we can defeat Cloud Sea country and publicize the power of our evil blood sect. The last expert of Cloud Sea Nation has been transferred back. Our men in the Cloud Sea Nation said that the newcomer is called Lin Fei, and he's the direct disciple of Grand Monarch Shaker. He's been in secluded cultivation. Unfortunately, he's a body-tempering cultivator, so he's not a threat. Although Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker and the others were afraid of him, there was nothing to worry about since he was just a legacy disciple of their sect. As long as they didn't kill Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker's disciples and didn't provoke Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker, then there was nothing to be afraid of. Everyone knew that Grand Monarch Heaven Shaker was the most protective of his people. As long as they didn't go too far, he wouldn't make a move. Gather the disciples of the evil blood sect. In 3 days, we will attack this mine in the Cloud Sea Nation. It's time for a change of master. I believe the Lord will be very happy. Little did Lin Fei know that he had become an easy target to bully. In these 60,000 years, it was as if Lin Fei had become an invisible person, other than the ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation. No one else knew about him. At this time, Lin Fei was thinking about how to gather enough godly essence sand for Proud Heaven's breakthrough. Every time he advanced to the next realm, he needed a certain amount of godly essence sand. This divine essence sand wasn't something common, but something that originated from a unique world. In order to extract it, one needed a 9th order heavenly god realm physical body or the strength of a great venerable lord, as well as a peak divine weapon. None of these were things that the current Lin Fei couldn't achieve. Proud Heaven's 12th stage tyrant physique was stuck at the 7th stage. Although he hadn't reached the peak of the 7th stage, it was time to make preparations. Where should I go to get it? What a headache! Lin Fei shook his head, feeling a headache coming on. I can't use Proud Heaven to trade for it, at least not now. In the past 60,000 years, Lin Fei didn't need to worry about this. But now that he had completed his cultivation, he needed to think about his next step. The ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation was uneasy at the start, afraid that Lin Fei would interfere. The other party's background was too big. He couldn't afford to offend Grand Venerable Hantian's personal disciple. Fortunately, the thing that worried him the most didn't happen. Ever since Lin Fei arrived in the Cloud Sea Nation, he didn't interfere with the Cloud Sea Nation's affairs. This made the ruler heave a sigh of relief. In the past 60,000 years, the ruler had given Lin Fei the respect he deserved. At the same time, he followed Lin Fei's instructions. As long as it wasn't something important, there was no need to disturb him. The ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation was happy to do so. Ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation, bad news. Our Ice Sea Stone Mine has been occupied by the Blood Fiend sect. The ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation, who was accompanying his consorts, was caught off guard by this news. The Blood Fiend sect has come out again. The ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation could no longer remain calm. Outrageous! They dare to occupy the Ice Sea Stone Mine? Men, gather all the experts in the country. We're going to kill them. The trusted aide beside him reminded him. Your Majesty, should we inform Lord Lin Fei about this? There's no need for that now. The ruler shook his head. The Blood Fiend sect's luck suffered greatly after that battle. They don't have many experts left. If this ruler goes there personally, I can annihilate them. As a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Master, the ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation was very confident. There was no need to inform Lin Fei about such a small matter. The ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation is here. Cloud Sea Mountain Range, Ice Sea Stone Mine. The large mining area was filled with rivers of blood, and corpses were strewn everywhere. Your Blood Fiend sect has some guts, actually daring to attack the Ice Sea Stone Mine. The ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation stepped into the air, appearing above the mining area. His sharp gaze swept over the area below. Ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation, long time no see. Your temper is still as bad as ever. Ah! Below the mining area, a black-clothed figure flew up, standing in the air with a smile on his face. You're actually still alive. The ruler's eyes narrowed. The remnants of the Blood Fiend sect deserve to be punished by everyone. Ruler of the Cloud Sea Nation, you've made a mistake. Tonight is the day you die. The black-clothed figure clapped his hands. Of course I'm not your opponent, but this time I've invited an expert to deal with you. After the loud noise, in the void a silhouette rushed out. He had a head of white hair and carried a long sword on his back. The sharp sword will rushed up to the sky, tearing the void apart. Behind him, a broken void would appear at any moment. One Sword Venerable's personal disciple, Lu Sha, the white-haired heavenly god, stated indifferently. The ruler's face sank. He was in big trouble. Chapter 2801. Yunhai ruler was thoroughly defeated. Heavenly God Quicksand, who was under Paragon 1 Sword's tutelage, struck out 3 times in total. The first strike caused Sea Cloud Monarch to panic. The second strike broke through Sea Cloud Monarch's heavenly deity artifact armor, and the third strike killed him. At the 7th Order Heavenly God realm, most heavenly gods would send their avatars out. This was what heavenly gods liked to do the most. If they weren't confident, they would rarely take action with their true body. Everyone treasured their lives. Yun High Ruler was the same. He sent his avatar to the mine, but it was killed by heavenly god Quicksand in 3 strikes. The other party's sword Dao was terrifying, and there was a terrifying slicing aspect to it. Yun High Ruler couldn't block it. What a pity it was only his avatar that died. The black-clothed man shook his head in disappointment. It would be great if he could kill his true body. The white-haired heavenly god Quicksand said indifferently. He's quite lucky to have sent his avatar. The next time will be when his true body dies. Heavenly god Quicksand wasn't interested in killing a small ruler from the Dark Shadow Palace. He had killed countless rulers like this. I've helped you settle this matter. You can deal with the rest yourself. If there's nothing important, don't bother me. Leaving those words behind, Heavenly God Quicksand tore space apart and disappeared from the mine. The black-clothed man respectfully sent him off. With Yun High Ruler's avatar dead, it's time to occupy the Cloud Sea Mountain Range's mines, one by one. After Yun High Ruler's avatar was killed, the Blood Fiend sect began to attack the Cloud Sea Mountain Range's mines. In 10 years, they occupied 2/3 of the mines, controlling almost the entire Cloud Sea mountain range. The Blood Fiend sect's arrogance reached its peak. Countless bandits and madmen joined the Blood Fiend sect and continuously wreaked havoc. At the same time, they started to invade some of the larger cities in the Cloud Kingdom and spread the Blood Fiend sect's teachings. The Cloud Sea countries suffered defeat after defeat. Very few of the experts they sent out returned. All of them died in their hands. The Blood Fiend sect suppressed the Cloud Sea countryside, not daring to move. Many of the Cloud Sea countries' forces were enticed to join the Blood Fiend sect. The Cloud Sea countries' guards were suppressed, not daring to raise their heads. This was also because the Blood Fiend sect was smart. Behind them was the Massacre Court's Blood Evil Kingdom. The two countries had always been enemies. If the higher-ups were to invade, it would definitely incur the displeasure of the Dark Shadow Palace. Right now, it was just a battle between two small countries. No one would care about it. Your Majesty, if this goes on, our Cloud Sea Kingdom will be finished. In the imperial capital of the Cloud Nation, the higher-ups of the Cloud Sea Kingdom were all dejected. In these 10 years, the Blood Fiend sect had developed too quickly. They were starting to put pressure on Yunhai country. At the same time, there were experts of Yunhai country being killed by the Blood Fiend sect. There were not many experts left in Cloud Sea Kingdom. Back when Sovereign Lord One Sword's disciple had killed his clone, Sovereign Lord Yunhai still had a lingering fear in his heart. He didn't dare to act with his main body. His main body and clone strength were about the same, and if he went, he would only be sending himself to his death. During these 10 years, King Yunhai had been living in fear, and he had lost a lot of face. The Blood Fiend sect had spread the word that as long as Country King Yunhai came out, they would kill him. After losing his clone, Country King Yunhai cultivated a new clone, but it was not as strong as before. Naturally, he didn't dare to send it out. Recently, the Blood Fiend sect had been provoking him non-stop. Country King Yunhai, Your Majesty, I think we have to ask that Lin Fei to come out. Lin Fei is the personal disciple of great Paragon Hantian. He might be able to suppress the Blood Fiend sect. Even if the experts of the Blood Fiend sect were to injure Lin Fei, great Paragon Hantian's senior brother would also come to help. Country King Yunhai hadn't gone because he couldn't afford to lose face. Other than that, he also didn't have much confidence in Lin Fei. Country King Yunhai knew a little about the situation in the Dark Shadow Palace through his friends. Although Lin Fei had become the personal disciple of great Paragon Hantian, compared to those who had become the disciples of great Paragon Hantian, Lin Fei's potential was the worst. This was the reason why Country King Yunhai didn't go. Given the current situation, Country King Yunhai had to make a decision. Sigh, looks like I can only ask for Lin Fei's help. Whether it succeeds or not will depend on luck. Country King Yunhai came to visit. Lin Fei was very surprised. Ever since he expressed his attitude towards Country King Yunhai, Lin Fei rarely interfered with the affairs of Country King Yun. He was happy to be free and do whatever he wanted. There's trouble. Lin Fei could see the fatigue between Country King Yunhai's eyebrows. This kind of fatigue didn't form in a short period of time. It must have lasted for a long time. Little Devil, find out what happened in Country King Yun recently. Get it for Master immediately. Even though Lin Fei didn't pay attention to Country King Yunhai, Little Devil was monitoring it. What happened in Country King Yunhai was actually related to him. This was what every personal disciple had to do. If he didn't know anything, it would be hard for him to explain. This was something that Lin Fei understood. Oh, so that's how it is. After receiving the message from the little demon, Lin Fei understood what had happened. It turned out that Yunhai Kingdom was no longer peaceful. Some disciples of the Evil Blood sect were running amok. Now the entire Yunhai Kingdom was in chaos. Master, Country King Yunhai can't take it anymore. One of his avatars was killed. He's scared out of his wits. Little Devil said disdainfully. He wants Master's senior brother to come and help. How shameless! Little Devil's analysis ability was top-notch. She didn't go back on her words. Lin Fei was very unhappy. It's been 10 years, and you only came to tell me now. You really don't take me seriously. Lord Lin Fei, I'm here to ask for help. The Blood Fiend sect has appeared in Country Yin. They are spreading evil and massacring people. This has seriously affected Country Yin. My abilities are limited, and I deserve to die. Country Yin said humbly. A mere Blood Fiend sect is nothing. Country Yin can naturally deal with it. I think it's better for you to do it yourself. Although I have some abilities, I'm still far from being able to compete with Country Yin. Lin Fei said humbly with a smile. Country Yin's heart sank. This was a rejection. However, Country Yin didn't have anything to explain about Lin Fei's words. All right, I'm going to cultivate. Lin Fei was about to send him off. I hope you can destroy the Blood Fiend sect. Country Yin's first invitation failed. Lin Fei finally understood what Senior Brother said the last time he came. The conflict between Dark Shadow Palace and Massacre Court was not small. A mere Blood Fiend Country's disciple was showing off in Country Yin, forcing Country Yin to ask for help. It was clear that Country Yin was scared out of his wits. One Sword Lord's disciple, it's really fate, ah. Lin Fei flipped through the information in his mind. I remember Nangong Feishue was One Sword Lord's disciple. His sword Dao is very powerful. Being able to kill Country Yin means that he's at least a 7th order heavenly god realm. Lin Fei didn't know if it was a coincidence or if he didn't get along with One Sword Lord. Country Yin, I'll give him the cold shoulder for now. I'll let him know that I'm not that easy to fool. Lin Fei wouldn't make a move casually. Now was not the time. Chapter 2802. This was the first time King Yunhai returned empty-handed. He knew that this Lord Lin Fei was giving him a hard time. The Blood Fiend sect had caused such a huge ruckus, but he didn't report it immediately. He had waited for 10 years. Anyone would be in a bad mood. This was disrespectful. After King Yunhai returned, he organized a few counterattacks and tried to encircle and annihilate the Blood Fiend sect. However, he failed every time and suffered great losses. His clone was almost killed again. This time, King Yunhai had no other choice. He went to ask for help again. The door was shut the second time. He couldn't see anyone. The servants on the mountain passed the message that their master was in seclusion. They didn't know when he would come out. It would take at least a few years. King Yunhai didn't have any temper. Should he report it directly? He didn't need to be the king anymore. The Dark Shadow Palace was like a pyramid. There were many levels, and it was very strict. If Country King Yunhai reported to someone above his level, he would definitely be in trouble. He had to ask Lin Fei for help. Only if he lost would he be able to report to his superiors. King Yunhai went back helplessly. In the following period of time, the Blood Fiend sect became more and more arrogant. They would go to the capital of Yunhai country to mock them. The experts of the capital couldn't stand it anymore. Every time they went out, they would be killed. As time went on, no one dared to go. This went on for 5 years. King Yunhai came a few times during this period. He returned disappointed every time. He knew that Lord Lin Fei was unhappy with his actions. On his 8th visit, King Yunhai finally saw Lin Fei. Lord Lin Fei, I was wrong. King Yunhai lowered his head. Please do something. After not seeing King Yunhai for 5 years, Lin Fei wanted to teach him a lesson. No matter how arrogant the Blood Fiend sect was, they wouldn't dare to attack the capital. That was another matter. The Blood Fiend sect knew this bottom line. Now that King Yunhai knew he was wrong, Lin Fei was prepared to do something. After all, it wasn't a good thing to drag things out. He would suffer too. Since I'm in charge of the Cloud Nation and a member of the Dark Shadow Palace, I will naturally spare no effort in this matter." Lin Fei said seriously. King Yin heaved a sigh of relief. The Blood Demon sect had set up countless branches in Cloudsea Country and had bewitched and won over a large number of families and forces. At the same time, countless experts had come because of the Blood Demon sect's reputation. Now, the Blood Demon sect was a great force in Cloudsea Country. Most importantly, the Blood Evil sect had the support of the Blood Evil Nation. Even a clone of the king of Yunhai was killed in the Yunhai mountain range. What other experts could the Yunhai country have? The upper echelons of the Dark Shadow Palace never cared about such small squabbles. It was hard to attract attention unless it was a fight between supremacies. That was the situation in Yunhai Kingdom. Lin Fei and Yunhai Kingdom returned to the imperial capital of Yunhai. The higher-ups of Yunhai all came to welcome him. Now they were pinning their hopes on Lin Fei. For more than a decade, they had been suppressed by the Blood Fiend sect. Actually, it wasn't easy for them either. Should they go out and fight? Most likely, the outcome would be death. Who would dare to go? The cultivation of an avatar also required a huge price. Lord Lin Fei, people from the Blood Fiend sect come to provoke us at noon every day. The ruler of Yunhai accompanied Lin Fei. Their leader is a Sixth Order, Heavenly God, Realm Master. Lin Fei frowned. You guys can't even deal with a Sixth Order, Heavenly God, Realm Master. The higher-ups of Yunhai Kingdom lowered their heads. The ruler of Yunhai's face was flushed red. Lord, that Sixth Order, Heavenly God, Realm Master is not an ordinary master. He is an inner disciple under Venerable One Sword. Their lineage's strongest point is their sword skills. They are incomparably domineering. An ordinary Sixth Order, Heavenly God, Realm Master can suppress a Seventh Order, Heavenly God, Realm Master. Many of our Yunhai Kingdom's experts have died at his hands. Oh, Lin Fei replied indifferently. Outside the Yunhai capital, it was noon. A group of more than 100 people appeared on the horizon. All of them were Heavenly God Realm Masters, and there were more than 10 Seventh Order Heavenly God Realm Masters. However, they were escorting a Sixth Order Heavenly God Realm middle-aged man, respectfully. Lord, the person being escorted, is Venerable One Sword's inner disciple, Shualuo. The ruler of Yunhai Kingdom glared angrily at the approaching figure. Lin Fei looked over. That Heavenly God Shualuo was like a sharp, long sword, exuding a domineering sword intent, as if he could be unsheathed at any moment. Interesting, With a single glance, Lin Fei could feel the other party's strength. Just a casual glance at the other party's sword intent caused his eyes to hurt. Ruler of Yunhai Kingdom, are you not going to be a coward, A Heavenly God standing beside Heavenly God Shui Luo snickered. Are you ready to come out and fight to the death with us? I don't have the guts. My clone was almost killed the last time. If I come out again and leave my clone behind, it would be a huge loss. Ha 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 ha. The Heavenly Gods behind Heavenly God Shui Luo roared with laughter. The Cloudsea Kingdom's upper echelons glared at Heavenly God Shui Luo. Being humiliated like this, as long as one was human, they would not be able to endure it. Unfortunately, the other party was too strong. A single inner disciple was enough to render them helpless, forcing them to hole up in the Cloudsea capital. Lord, please seek justice for us. Heavenly God Shui Luo lowered his head, unable to conceal the killing intent in his eyes. This was a direct slap to his face, the greatest humiliation of his life, Heavenly God Shui Luo had no interest in the Cloudsea Kingdom. He was even less of a match for Heavenly God Shui Luo. As for Heavenly God Shui Luo, he didn't put Lin Fei in his eyes. If Lin Fei dared to come out, he wouldn't mind killing him with his own hands. Lord, please sit. Someone behind Heavenly God Shui Luo brought out a throne and sat on it. There were heavenly gods who went out to challenge heavenly god Luo, but no one dared to step out. The Cloud Sea Kingdom is really useless, a bunch of cowards, The one who went out to challenge heavenly god Luo was a sixth order heavenly god realm master. Heavenly god Luo. Lin Fei shook his head inwardly. Over 100 heavenly god realm masters actually forced the Cloud Sea Kingdom's experts to cower in fear. This was truly a disgrace. Enough! Stop glaring at me. The Cloud Sea Kingdom belongs to the Dark Shadow Palace. It's not the place for a small sect to bully us. Lin Fei shook his head, taking a step forward, passing through the void and arriving outside the formation. Heavenly God Luo, you're finally showing some courage, There's actually someone who dares to challenge us. Heavenly God Luo swept a glance over the newcomer, noticing that the newcomer was young and didn't exude any aura fluctuations. I wonder how many times he can withstand my attacks. Heavenly God Luo was a physique cultivator. With his sixth order heavenly god realm physique, he was quite famous in the saint spirit world. Howl! Heavenly God Luo roared with laughter, his figure flashing like a streak of light. What he loved the most was using his fists to smash people into a bloody pulp. Extremely violent and cruel. Insolent. Lin Fei stood with his hands clasped behind his back, bellowing. Hua hua hua! Terrifying energy rushed out like a raging flood, slamming into heavenly god Luo's body, causing him to vomit mouthfuls of blood. Shock filled his face involuntarily. Not good. Heavenly god Luo vomited blood, turning around to flee. The energy he used was too powerful, passing through his defenses and slamming into his flesh. Poo-pee-you-pee-you. Just as he turned around, energy rushed out endlessly. Chapter 2803. One move. The 8-tiger heavenly deity was smashed into pieces by the boundless energy. The 8-tiger deities were dead. The eyes of the higher-ups of the Cloud Sea Kingdom lit up. What a domineering attack! Separated by the Cloud Sea formation, the heavenly gods in the upper echelons of the Cloud Sea could still see Lin Fei's vigorous usage of energy. The energy surged over like a tidal wave. Unless one's physical body was extremely strong, they could only use treasures to deal with it. They had all somewhat underestimated Lin Fei. Being able to become Grand Monarch Heavenshaker's personal disciple, he really wasn't simple. King Yunhai was actually very worried. The 8th Order Heavenly God Realm 8 Tigers Heavenly God Realm had killed more than a dozen Heavenly God Realm Masters in the Cloud Sea country. The Cloud Sea ruler had long wanted to kill the 8th Order 8 Tigers Heavenly God Realm. Unfortunately, his opponent's physical body was incredibly powerful, and with the protection of the Heavenly Deity battle armor, it was very difficult to kill him. This was the hardest aspect of a Heavenly Deity body tempering school powerhouse to deal with, unless you had absolute power to crush them. Good kill. Heavenly Deity Luo frowned slightly. The other party's attack was very domineering. King Yunhai, I didn't expect you to invite such an expert. Heavenly Deity Luo did not seem to care. No wonder he dared to show up today. It turns out that he has the confidence. You too, go down and test his strength. All right. The two heavenly gods behind Heavenly Deity Luo obeyed the order and left. Both of them were peak 6th Order Heavenly God Realm Masters, exuding an aura of Emperor's will. Even though the death of one of the 8-tiger heavenly gods did not have much of an impact, Heavenly God Luo still felt a little embarrassed. The Yunhai monarch, whom they had mocked and insulted all this time, had actually dared to send someone to kill him? He had completely disregarded them. Kill. They had to be ruthlessly killed. He could kill until the Yunhai monarch was afraid and hide in the Yunhai imperial capital. What Lin Fei used just now was the first move of proud Heaven 12th layer tyrant body, space oscillation. Now that Huang Xiaolong was using it, the force behind it was even more ferocious, able to cause space to vibrate with his bare hands, creating a powerful attack. A mere sixth-order heavenly god realm physique cultivator was nothing in his eyes. Since he was here today, Lin Fei would definitely deal a heavy blow to the Blood Fiend sect to prevent them from bringing more trouble to the Cloud Sea Nation. Brat Dai. Two heavenly deity powerhouses charged over from the left and right. The one on the left took out a spear as a weapon. With a shake of the spear, it pierced forward like a dragon. A huge black vortex formed on the tip of the spear. Wherever the vortex passed, the void was torn apart, and traces of the black vortex could be seen everywhere. The heavenly deity powerhouse on the right turned into a black fog, covering the sky and covering the sun. The entire world seemed to darken, emitting an oppressive aura. As soon as the two of them made their moves, the higher-ups of the Cloud Sea Kingdom felt pressured. Looking at the two incoming cultivators, Lin Fei shook his head in disappointment. With a gentle wave of his hand, boundless power surged forth. Bang, bang, bang! The two sixth-order heavenly god realm masters were reduced to dust by the shockwave. You guys are useless. You're the only one here with strength. I'm interested. Lin Fei acted as if he had done something insignificant as he looked at heavenly Bloodnet goddess. Your Majesty, isn't Lord Lin Fei a little too powerful? He killed two peak sixth-order heavenly god realm masters with just a wave of his hand. This is a little scary. Could it be that Lord Lin Fei has already reached seventh-order heavenly god realm? The Cloud Sea Kingdom's higher-ups were excited. At the beginning, they had no choice but to invite Lin Fei out, hoping that his senior brother would be able to force the Blood Fiend cult's people to retreat. But now, it seemed like Lin Fei was stronger than they had imagined. At the very least, he's a sixth-order heavenly god realm, the Cloud Sea Kingdom's ruler said in a low voice. The attack he used is a little overbearing. This ruler actually has no impression of it. This was something the system had deduced, so naturally no one could tell what it was. They could only tell from the energy fluctuations that this was a powerful killing move of a body-tempering cultivator. Little brother, you're quite skilled. Heaven Blood Goddess stood up. Don't you think your words are a little too arrogant? Being able to use your strength to such a degree. You're definitely not a nobody. Tell me your name. Heaven Blood Goddess had underestimated the other party. This person used his physical body to shake space and form a killing move. It was indeed a little terrifying and flawless. When faced with such a move, there were only two choices. One was to take it head-on, and the other was to retreat. There was no other way. Seeing the Cloud Sea Kingdom's ruler invite such an expert, Heaven Blood Goddess's interest was piqued. Heaven Blood Goddess had no interest in killing ordinary heavenly gods, but this kind of person with potential was a different story. Losing one of them was enough to make the other party's heart ache for a long time. Heaven Blood Goddess, listen carefully. This is Lord Lin Fei, Lord Hantian's personal disciple. The Cloud Sea Kingdom's ruler said excitedly, Quickly surrender, otherwise in front of Lord Hantian. All of you will die without a doubt. It was rare for the Cloud Sea Kingdom's ruler to be this happy. Heaven Blood Goddess's eyes narrowed, scrutinizing the young man in front of him. So, your grand venerable Hantian's personal disciple Lin Fei. This is really unexpected. I also think we're fated, Lin Fei said with a smile. I've experienced your sex, Nangong Feishue, but I wonder how you fare as an inner disciple. Heaven Blood Goddess had heard of Lin Fei in the sect. Nangong Feishue was an inner disciple with good potential. However, in the Great Thousand World, he was killed by a native kid. No wonder your name sounds so familiar. Heaven Blood Goddess's eyes turned cold. Nangong Feishue is my good friend, and you actually killed his doppelganger. Today I'll kill your main body. Rip. In the void, a flying sword flew out. The sword came from the west, streaking across the bright sun as it pierced towards Lin Fei's forehead. Lord, be careful. This is Heaven Blood Goddess's void-hidden sword. The Cloud Sea Kingdom's ruler quickly warned. This was a powerful Holy Spirit killer move. No one knew where the other party had hidden the sword. It was extremely strange. Void-hidden sword? Lin Fei chuckled as he reached out with 2 fingers. Although there seemed to be a great distance between them, he easily caught Heaven God Blood Net's void concealment sword, causing the entire sword to vibrate nonstop. Gotcha! Lin Fei casually pulled, and the sword broke. Heaven Blood Goddess took a step back, revealing a grave expression. Your performance has disappointed me. Lin Fei shook his head. Go back and tell your senior brother Lu Sha that I'll come and meet him soon. In the Cloud Sea Kingdom, it's not a place for him to act presumptuously. Crash! Lin Fei stretched out his hand and grabbed. His palm expanded infinitely, forming a spatial world within it. Sealing soul-breaking palm, second layer. The heavenly gods brought by Heaven Blood Goddess did not have time to struggle. The space was sealed and they could not break out. They were all trapped in the palm world. Lin Fei gently closed his hand and the palm world collapsed. Chapter 2804. The sealing soul-severing palm was a powerful killing move of the physique cultivator, and its power was extraordinary. If an ordinary heavenly god used it, its power would be greatly limited, but it was different for Lin Fei. The sacred cloud dragon traversing physique was an imitation of the heavenly 12 layers tyrannical physique. After recultivating it, the heavenly god's physique would become a top-grade heavenly god's physique. The stronger one's physique was, the more power they could display. Heavenly God Shualuo and the others might not be weak, but in front of the second layer of the sealing soul-severing palm, they were nothing. The ruler and the higher-ups of the Yunhai country were dumbfounded. Was this still the low-profile Lord Lin Fei they knew? He was at least a 6th-order heavenly god realm. Lord Lin Fei was a 7th-order heavenly god realm cultivator, and he was also a physique cultivator. The power of his killing move was terrifying. This was something they didn't dare to imagine before. They had witnessed heavenly god Shui Luo's strength. But in front of Lin Fei, heavenly god Shui Luo was killed without a chance to struggle. In that instant they felt old. This was the world of the younger generation, In the future, if anyone dared to say that Lin Fei was a good-for-nothing, they would definitely scold that person. Cultivating to the 6th-order heavenly god realm in 60,000 years, and a physique cultivator at that. How many people could do that? From this moment onwards, they were completely convinced. With such a lord in the Yunhai country, their hearts were at ease. Lord Lin Fei is mighty! Lord Lin Fei is mighty! Everyone praised Huang Xiaolong from the bottom of their hearts. The days of the Yunhai country being suppressed by the Blood Fiend sect were gone. The news of Lin Fei killing heavenly god Shualuo and hundreds of heavenly gods outside the Yunhai capital spread like wildfire in the Yunhai country. Cities big and small were in an uproar, followed by excited cheers. After dealing with those who provoked him, Lin Fei didn't stay idle. The Blood Fiend sect had established many churches in the Yunhai country, and they had almost become a malignant tumor. Lin Fei had to get rid of this tumor once and for all. In the sky above a city, a black-robed figure came out of the void and stood in the air. His sharp eyes swept across the place, and he brazenly attacked one of the halls in the city. After a loud rumble, the Blood Fiend sect's branches were uprooted one by one. Sovereign Yunhai, you will be in charge of cleaning up the mess. Kill all the remaining members of the Blood Fiend sect. King Yunhai was truly impressed by Lin Fei. Don't worry, sir. I will take care of the remaining matters. I will not let the remnants of the Blood Evil sect escape. Country King Yun Hai brought his elites and began to encircle them. All right, Lin Fei tore open the void and left. Within a day, Lin Fei's figure appeared in the sky above all the major cities. Every time it was a single move. It was a violent and brutal attack. The higher-ups of the Blood Fiend sect suffered heavy casualties. The elites of the Yun Kingdom followed up again to clean up the remaining survivors. Lin Fei's prestige spread throughout the entire Cloud Kingdom in a single day. By the time they reached the last few cities, the Blood Fiend sect had retreated. The Blood Fiend cult's higher echelon dared not face Grand Monarch Kantian's personal disciple head-on. They had received news that the moment Grand Monarch Kantian arrived, he struck out with his palm without saying a word. The Blood Fiend cult's upper echelon suffered heavy casualties, and only a few survived. Even a 7th Order Heavenly God, Realm Master, was killed by that palm strike. The Blood Fiend sect had no choice but to retreat. The branches that the Blood Fiend sect had spent more than a decade building were reduced to nothing in a single day. The Cloud Kingdom erupted in cheers. They could finally hold their heads high. However, there was another group of people who weren't in a good mood. The Blood Fiend sect's chief, Shuewan, was the one who had launched the attack on the Cloud Sea mountain range and invited Venerable One Sword's personal disciple to kill one of Country King Yun Hai's avatars. How the hell did you gather information? Blood One's face was gloomy. The atmosphere in the great hall was stifling. More than a dozen higher-ups were pale and dejected. Even they didn't understand how the forces they had spent so much effort to build up had been destroyed in a single day. The Blood Fiend sect had suffered heavy losses. Chief, we don't know either. Although Lin Fei is Grand Monarch Kantian's personal disciple, he hasn't made any movements among the Dark Shadow Palace's disciples. Moreover, he cultivates the body tempering path, so his cultivation speed is extremely slow. Who would have thought that he would master the soul-severing sealing palm and reach the 2nd stage? Even a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Cultivator would have to avoid him. That's right, Lin Fei's palm strike contained boundless power. None of US could block it. The higher-ups of the Blood Fiend sect were crying and complaining. Some of them had barely escaped with their lives. They would never forget the power of that palm strike for a very long time. Blood One was infuriated. He had been so careful, but now it was all gone. His efforts had all gone to waste. Chief, we underestimated that Lin Fei. We thought that he would bury himself in cultivation and ignore this matter. Now, all our efforts in the Cloud Sea country have gone to waste. The only thing we still control is the Cloud Sea mountain ranges mining area. I'm guessing that Lin Fei will personally go to the Cloud Sea mountain range to take back the mining area. Blood One was furious, but he knew that he had to solve this problem as soon as possible. The Cloud Sea mountain ranges mining area, especially the important ones, could not be taken back by Lin Fei. Since he came to the Cloud Sea mountain range, let's give him a big gift, Blood One said. Although we can't kill him directly, injuring him shouldn't be a problem. Even if Grand Monarch Kantian finds out, he won't be able to do anything about it. He's a big shot, he won't bully the weak. Lin Fei was a body-tempering cultivator, and Blood One was a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Master. He might not be afraid of Lin Fei. For safety's sake, he decided to pay a visit to that personal disciple. On the other side, in a quiet courtyard, the sharp sword intent wreaked havoc, cutting the surrounding void into pieces. A white-haired, middle-aged man sat at the center of the courtyard. The sharp sword intent around him was like a gentle breeze, gentle and soft. Senior brother, you must avenge me, Blood overarching Heavenly God said coldly. The Cloud Sea country ruler is treacherous and cunning. He purposely sent that punk Lin Fei here. I was caught off guard by him. How hateful, Having lost a clone, Blood overarching Heavenly God had to cultivate from the beginning. Regardless of which aspect it was a huge drain. Blood overarching heavenly God, couldn't swallow this humiliation. The Blood Fiend cult has also suffered heavy losses. All the branches they occupied have been uprooted. I think Lin Fei will be heading to the Cloud Sea mountain range in a few days. That guy even boasted that he wants to challenge Senior Brother. White-haired, quicksand heavenly god's gaze was calm, as if he was listening to a trivial matter. Chapter 2805. After Lin Fei removed all the entrances to the Blood Fiend Church, the Blood Fiend Church's forces retreated from the Cloud Sea Kingdom. King Yunhai took advantage of the situation and led his men to annihilate the remaining forces of Blood Fiend Sect. Blood Fiend Sect's influence was at its lowest. Everyone knew that Yunhai country now had a powerful expert. That person was none other than Lin Fei, Grand Monarch Heavenshaker's legacy disciple, who had a lofty status. The Cloud Sea mountain range. A group of people arrived in the sky above the Cloud Sea mountain range. A group of people clustered around a black-clothed young man, but the young man's expression was indifferent. This group of people were the Yunhai Kingdom's upper echelons, Lin Fei and the Yunhai King. The forces of the Evil Blood Sect in the Cloud Sea country had been wiped out, but the Cloud Sea mountain range was still in their hands. They had to take it back and wipe out the forces of the Evil Blood Sect. Lord, according to the information we received, the Blood Fiend cult's remaining forces are concentrated in the Cloud Sea mountain range. The spy I placed in the Blood Fiend Kingdom reported that the ruler has sent several experts over. All of them are 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Masters. The Cloud Sea ruler reported from the side. Lin Fei said with a smile, "It's best to gather them together. It saves us a lot of trouble. Once I get rid of the Blood Fiend sect, I can continue to cultivate and avoid the trouble of coming and going. The remnants of the Blood Fiend sect have disturbed Master's cultivation. What a bunch of bastards." King Yunhai and the higher-ups behind him all chimed in. They all knew that their superior had cultivated in the Cloud Sea Nation for more than 60,000 years. He was a standard cultivator, and it would not be an exaggeration to call him a martial arts fanatic. They quickly discovered the members of Blood Fiend Sect. They controlled a mining area below. Do it! Lin Fei could not be bothered to deal with these ant-like Blood Fiend Sect disciples. With a single command, the experts that the Yunhai monarch had brought were all heavenly gods. They were equipped with a series of equipment, and their battle prowess was quite strong. This time, everyone was full of confidence. With Lin Fei in command, he had killed more than 100 heaven gods with a wave of his hand. Everyone remembered this clearly. It was all thanks to this direct disciple of the Dark Shadow Palace that they were able to chase the Blood Evil cult out of the Cloud Kingdom so quickly. Kill! The battle had begun. The Cloud Sea mountain range was huge. They were rich in all kinds of resources. Therefore, this place became the most competitive place between the Cloud Kingdom and the Blood Kingdom. The mines in the mountains kept changing owners. As soon as the Cloud Sea Nation's heavenly god arrived, a huge battle broke out between the two sides. Intense energy fluctuations enveloped the entire mining area. Lin Fei looked on coldly. In less than 2 hours, the battle was over. The Cloud Sea Kingdom managed to retake the first mine. Next, the morale of the Cloud Sea Nation was unstoppable as they pushed forward. The people of the Blood Fiend sect were forced to retreat again and again. Seeing that they could not hold on any longer, they immediately gave up on the mining area. Lin Fei had not made a single move since the beginning. It was really meaningless. A small fry from the Blood Fiend cult. Even if a 6th Order or even a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Master made a move, the Sea of Cloud's higher echelons could easily deal with them. If they didn't have this much strength, they didn't deserve to be in the Sea of Cloud's higher echelons. On the other hand, Blood Fiend Sect Master Blood 1 stood behind a white-haired, middle-aged man. They're almost here. The mines guarded by the Blood Fiend sect were destroyed one by one. Looking at the time, they should be here soon. A middle-aged man standing next to Sect Master Blood One said coldly, "I really want to meet that Lin Fei." He cultivated the sacred cloud dragon traversing body to the second level in 60,000 years. He's not simple. This middle-aged man was a seventh order heavenly god realm master from the Blood Fiend country. This time they were here to ambush the Cloud Sea ruler. It would be best if they could injure the Cloud Sea ruler heavily. At the same time, they also wanted to see this Lin Fei. They're here. Lin Fei led the Cloud Sea rulers group to the most important mining area, the Ice Sea Stone mining area. This mining area produced precious ice sea stones that were used to forge weapons. The most intense competition between the Cloud Sea Nation and the Blood Fiend country was this mining area. In the past 10,000 years, this mining area had changed owners several times. As time passed, this mining area was littered with bones. Until now, there was no clear winner. Lord, that is the white-haired middle-aged man. He is Venerable One, Sword's personal disciple. Heavenly God Quicksand. Hatred shone in the Cloud Sea ruler's eyes. His avatar was killed by this white-haired man. The one behind him is the Blood Fiend Sect's Master Blood One. His position in the Blood Fiend country isn't low. Lin Fei's gaze fell on Heavenly God Quicksand. At this time, Heavenly God Quicksand also looked over. Crash! Their gazes collided in midair, and the surrounding space collapsed, revealing a black hole. Cloud Sea Ruler, you're dead for sure this time. Heavenly God Quicksand's hatred swept over Huang Xiaolong. My senior brother will definitely kill all of you. The Ice Sea mining area will be the place where your sect falls. Ha ha ha. Heavenly God Quicksand, don't think too highly of yourself. If things go wrong, this place will be your burial ground. The Cloud Sea ruler snorted. You have your senior brother, while we have Lord Lin Fei. Who's afraid of who? The Cloud Sea ruler had a belly full of anger. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes turn red. Lin Fei's gaze was fixed on Heavenly God Quicksand. This Heavenly God was much stronger than Heavenly God Quicksand. He had perfectly concealed his terrifying sword will, truly able to move at will. It was more like an unsheathed longsword. In terms of aura control, Heavenly God Quicksand was not as good as Heavenly God Quicksand. This is an interesting opponent. Lin Fei thought to himself, I heard that the disciples of Paragon One Sword all cultivate the unparalleled Sword Tao. They walk the Tao of slicing. Slicing the heavens, slicing the earth, slicing everything. They are indeed very powerful. On the surface, Lin Fei was cultivating the sacred cloud dragons traversing body 6th tier, but in reality it was not. If he cultivated it to the 7th tier, it would be too abrupt. Let's do it, Lin Fei said to the Cloud Sea ruler. Both sides were ready. The heavenly gods of the Cloud Sea country were in high morale. It was just the right time to decide the victor. Kill. Other than the Cloud Sea ruler and some of the higher echelons, all the Cloud Sea countries' experts appeared. This time, the Cloud Sea ruler had mobilized an army of 50,000 heavenly gods. All of them were elites. Heavenly God Quicksand ordered indifferently. Do it. Destroy all the elites the Cloud Sea ruler brought. This time, I'll make sure his true body falls here. Yes. Blood One accepted the order and left. Kill. Under the lead of the heavenly god, the Blood Fiend cult's disciples charged out from the mining area. You want to use a formation. In front of a 7th order heavenly god realm master, a formation was useless. Unless it was a top-grade formation. No one was willing to use a single mining area. The price of fighting over it was too high. Chapter 2806. The Empyrean god armies on both sides numbered about 100,000. Both sides fought fiercely, creating powerful shockwaves. King of Yun country, do you dare to fight me? Sect leader Blood One rushed out, and his gaze landed on Yun High Country King. His hatred was not small. "All right." Yun High Country King roared and rushed out, clashing with sect leader Blood One. The two of them were old rivals, and they were at the same realm. It would be very difficult for them to kill each other. The higher-ups behind Lin Fei also found their opponents. The same was true for Blood Fiend sect. Soon, only Lin Fei was left in the air. Blood Fiend sect only had Empyrean God Bloodnet and Empyrean God Quicksand. Empyrean God was afraid of Lin Fei and knew how powerful the Sealing Soul Severing Hand was. He didn't dare to attack recklessly. He had no chance of winning. "Junior brother, go help them," Empyrean God Quicksand said. Empyrean God Bloodnet's hidden sword technique was very powerful. As soon as his senior brother spoke, he immediately went to help deal with the higher-ups of Yun Country. "Lin Fei, Empyrean God's personal disciple, you killed my junior brother. Let me see how strong you are." Empyrean God Quicksand grinned. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A soundless aura of danger. It descended without any warning. For black flying, swords appeared in front of Lin Fei. Each flying sword slashed through the air. The 4 swords merged into one, forming a huge sword technique. Its power suddenly increased. This was a terrifying technique that was an extension of the hidden sword technique. When used by Empyrean God Quicksand, its power was limitless. This was the biggest difference between personal disciples and inner disciples. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as the sword formation appeared, endless slicing Emperor intent attacked. Empyrean God Bloodnet, who was fighting with someone else, had been paying attention. When he saw his senior brother use this technique, he grinned. No matter how powerful a body refiner is, he will definitely die in front of my senior brother's endless slicing. Once a technique of this level was cultivated to the peak, its power would be very terrifying. Empyrean God Bloodnet only knew the first part of the attack, the Void Sword Concealment. As for the second part of the attack, he was temporarily unable to master it. His power had not yet reached that level. Sharp blades swept past Lin Fei's body like the wind. And this was only the external power of the sword array. They kept shattering the layers of light protecting Lin Fei's body. What a powerful Holy Spirit sword art killer move. The ancient records say that after the Emperor's heart is formed, the power of the Emperor's will produce all kinds of branches. Among them, the sword Dao's slicing can be considered to be in the top 10. Just the slicing released by this sword formation is enough to affect my holy cloud dragon's traversing. And this is just the power of the outer layer. In an instant, Lin Fei's mind was filled with thoughts. Truly worthy of the name. Lin Fei seemed to have fallen into a sword furnace. After the 4 flying swords slashed out, it turned into a sword array attack. The moment the array changed, a small area of the void was sealed. This is the second level of Emperor's will added into the slicing intent. It is indeed a powerful Holy Spirit killer move. It is impossible to defend against. This was the first time Lin Fei had seen such an expert. If one was weak and encountered such a killer move, there would only be one outcome: to be easily killed by the opponent. Anyone who could become a Supremacy's personal disciple was not simple, and Supremacy One Sword Strength was not at the bottom among the Supremacies. He belonged to the middle tier and was not far from the peak of the Supremacy. Empyrean God Quicksand did not approach Lin Fei. It was not a good thing for a body-tempering cultivator to get close to him, especially one who cultivated Emperor's will. Their physical bodies were not very strong. Most of them used the Sky Deity battle armor to increase their defense, not their physical strength. Although they had the Sky Deity body, it was not very strong. Lin Fei, as a body-tempering cultivator, you should not exchange blows with a Sword Dao expert. In the Holy Spirit world, the Sword Dao path is one of the top 10 sects. Empyrean God Quicksand said indifferently, "Trying to show off your strength in front of me. You are still lacking." "That may not be true." Lin Fei laughed. Don't forget, the body tempering cultivator is also one of the top 10 sects. 2 people, 1 person answered and 1 person answered. Time passed quickly. The sword array arrived. The void was completely sealed. Lin Fei did not fully unleash the sacred cloud dragon traversing physique, maintaining it at the 6th order heavenly god realm. It was neither too high nor too low, but it was still very impressive. It had only been 60,000 years. Swish, swish, swish. With a thought, Lin Fei executed space oscillation. As terrifying as the sealing power was, it was not enough to suppress Lin Fei. A huge force surged out like a tidal wave, crashing into the void, shattering most of the sealing power. Then it slammed into the sword array, causing it to pause for a moment. At the same time, a portion of the sealing power was blocked. Open. The surrounding space sealing power was swept away, and Huang Xiaolong regained his freedom. Lin Fei punched out. The strength of his 6th order, heavenly god realm physique burst forth, landing on the weakest point of the sword array, breaking through Quicksand's attack. Quicksand, heavenly god, didn't think he could kill Huang Xiaolong in one move. He only wanted to injure him. It was a little surprising that Lin Fei could break through the sword array so easily. No wonder he could kill junior brother Shui, Luo's avatar, so easily. Again, Quicksand, heavenly god, didn't seem to mind. Who's afraid of who? The Sea Cloud ruler led his army here, but his focus was still on Lin Fei. After uprooting the Blood Fiend sex forces in a single day, the Sea Cloud ruler had a certain level of confidence in this low-key Lin Fei. While fighting with his old enemy, the Sea Cloud ruler was also paying attention to Lord Lin Fei. The memory of Quicksand, heavenly god, killing him in 3 moves was still fresh in his mind. He blocked it. The Sea Cloud ruler would never forget Quicksand's sword attack for the rest of his life. He died under this sword attack. The void was sealed, and his physical strength was too weak. He was killed by the sword array. Lord Lin Fei being able to break through this sword attack easily made the Sea Cloud ruler sigh in admiration. This gave him a greater hope. Perhaps this time Lord Lin Fei could really suppress Quicksand, heavenly god. In the air, Quicksand, heavenly god's position had not changed at all. His sword attacks came one after another, forcing Lin Fei to be unable to get close. His fierce sword attacks caused the Sea Cloud rulers, heavenly gods, to suck in cold breaths. If they were to encounter Quicksand, heavenly god, they would be finished. Judging from the current situation, Quicksand, heavenly god's attacks seemed to be ineffective against Lin Fei. On the surface, it looked like he was blocking Quicksand, heavenly god's attacks effortlessly. Quicksand, heavenly god, is this all you've got? Lin Fei's pure physical body cultivation was able to shatter any attack that came his way with a single punch. If you don't have it, then I'll let you witness the power of the physical body cultivation. Lin Fei understood Quicksand, heavenly god's attack style. His sword attacks were indeed powerful. Chapter 2807. Cloud Sea Mountain Range, above the Ice Sea Stone mining area. Heavenly god Quicksand realized that Lin Fei was more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. From the start of the battle, Heavenly god Quicksand had used a powerful sword Dao killing move, coupled with a slicing sword intent, which had killed many body tempering cultivators. Sword Dao was one of the 10 great sections. There were countless branches in the sword Dao, big and small, depending on the individual's mastery of them. Among them, the slicing emperor intent was the most terrifying. With a slash, the endless slicing power could easily kill an opponent. Heavenly god Quicksand had always been disdainful of body tempering cultivators. The sword Dao had always been the nemesis of body tempering cultivators. At the same cultivation realm, the sword Dao would always suppress the opponent. But this time, Heavenly god Quicksand failed to suppress Lin Fei. For the first time, his sword Dao killing move failed. The opponent was like a slippery eel, slippery and slippery. He must be cultivating some kind of special body-tempering secret technique. Heavenly God, quicksand, thought to himself. Only this explanation could explain why his attack failed to harm Lin Fei. Sealing soul, severing palm. Lin Fei bellowed, his palm striking out. Sealing space. Heavenly God, quicksand, knew the power of this kind of secret technique, not daring to underestimate it. This was a killing move that could make a 7th order Heavenly God, Realm Master feel threatened, especially at the second layer. The surrounding void froze in an instant. You're finally willing to use a killing move, ah? Heavenly God Quicksand had been waiting for this move. Only this move could make him feel pressured. Slash! Heavenly God Quicksand's sword slashed out, covering more than 100 swords. The sealed space loosened in an instant, and a giant hand descended from the sky. Void sword, sword array, appear! The sword array appeared above Quicksand's head. This move could not only attack, but it could also block. Its power was extraordinary, and no one dared to underestimate it. A powerful force surged out. The sword formation blocked this secret method killer move. Your sealing soul severing hand is indeed worthy of being a secret technique of the body transformation school. If you want to deal with my sword array, it's still a bit lacking. My endless cutting power is scattered around, completely blocking your attack. You will be disappointed. Quicksand Heavenly God Realm was a 7th order Heavenly God Realm Master, especially one who cultivated the sword path. His battle experience was extremely rich. Thus he had already come up with a countermeasure to deal with this move. If it was the 3rd level, the full power of the 9th level of the Saint Spirit Realm, Heavenly God Quicksand would have left without saying a word instead of staying here. Is that so? Lin Fei burst into laughter and shot over. Bang, bang, bang. The boundless slicing power in his wake was completely pulverized by Lin Fei. Heavenly God Quicksand unleashed one sword strike after another, but he was unable to stop Lin Fei from closing in on him. Lin Fei stretched out his hand and attacked. A beam of light shot out. Heavenly God Quicksand realized that he was in trouble. That beam of light made him feel immense pressure and danger. The beam of light only left behind an afterimage when it met Heavenly God Quicksand's attack. Heavenly God Quicksand reacted quickly and raised his sword in front of him to block the attack. Clang! The beam of light turned into a terrifying force, causing Heavenly God Quicksand's body to sway. Cracks appeared on the Heavenly Deity battle armor on his body, and the blood in his body churned. Saint Spirit Realm 9th Level Body Transformation Secret Technique. Heavenly God Quicksand was shocked. In the Saint Spirit world, the Body Transformation School was one of the top 10 sections. Naturally, they had their own strong points. The most powerful one was their secret techniques, which were all based on strength. Fortunately, there were not many of these techniques. Mastering 1 or 2 of them was already not bad. Lin Fei used 2 techniques in a row, and their power was evenly matched. Heavenly God Quicksand felt a headache coming on. This is my self-created Holy Spirit body refinement killer move. 1 finger piercing. I wonder how many times you can block my attacks. Lin Fei smiled as he attacked again, shooting out streams of light. This time, more than 10 attacks were unleashed. Heavenly God Quicksand's expression changed completely. How can his body be so strong? He can actually use such a powerful secret technique 10 times in one go. This was the true terror of body transformation style powerhouses. If their body was not heavily injured, they could attack endlessly with almost no side effects, unless their body could not withstand the attacks. However, it was different for them. If they used up all their energy, they would be inferior to their opponent. Heavenly God Quicksand's expression was grave as he slashed with his sword. Sword screen. Saint Spirit Realm 9th Level Sword Dao Technique. a sword screen blocked in front of him. This was a defensive technique of the Sword Dao sect. Heavenly God Quicksand had to block Lin Fei's attack. Once the sword screen appeared, more than 10 beams of light attacked, causing the sword screen to tremble. 6 of the beams of light pierced through the sword screen and reached Heavenly God Quicksand. Heavenly God Quicksand had just slashed with his sword in an attempt to divert some of the force when his body suddenly shook. His body was struck by 6 beams of light, and 6 bloody holes appeared on his body. Blood flowed freely. The sword screen instantly collapsed. What a powerful finger attack. Heavenly God Quicksand was bleeding. I still underestimated you. Swish, swish, swish. Cracks appeared on the body of the 6-colored Heavenly God, and it collapsed. Countless fragments flew everywhere. Lord Lin Fei is mighty. Monarch Yin laughed excitedly. Ha ha ha. Heavenly God Quicksand is dead. We won. Sect Leader Blood One and Heavenly God Shualuo were all dumbfounded. Heavenly God Quicksand, his personal disciple, was killed by Lin Fei. Boundless fear rose in their hearts. Retreat. Sect Leader Blood One and the other heavenly gods felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on them when they saw Heavenly God Quicksand's death. They made a feint and tried to escape. If they did not escape now, they would really die. Where do you think you are going? Monarch Yin chased after them. The others also made a ruckus. How could they let their enemies escape? Sect Leader Blood One, your helper is dead. You can follow him now. Sect Leader Blood One could not believe that Heavenly God Quicksand was killed by Lin Fei. A voice suddenly came from the sky. It was Lin Fei who was not far away. His eyes were cold, and his body trembled. He saw a big hand coming down from the sky. Seal the soul's severing hand. Sect Leader Blood One screamed as he was crushed by Lin Fei. Lin Fei crushed Sect Leader Blood One with one hand. He looked at Heavenly God Shui Luo coldly. You died last time. I don't know if you will be so lucky this time. Another palm shot through the air. My life is over. Heavenly God Shui Luo's face turned pale. He was killed on the spot. This time he was really dead. Lin Fei attacked 2 or 3 times in a row. He killed the experts of the Blood Fiend sect, and the experts sent by them in a domineering manner. Monarch Yin and the other upper echelons finally saw the strength of a body-tempering expert. This Holy Spirit secret skill was used again and again without any restrictions. It was impossible to block it. This Lord Lin Fei was more terrifying than they had imagined. Chapter 2808. The Cloud Sea country's troubles were more or less settled. The happiest person after killing Blood One was the ruler of the Cloud Sea country. At the very least, for the next 100 years, the majority of the Cloud Sea mountain range's mines would fall into his hands. His biggest worry was finally solved. In the next 100 years, Blood One dared not have any other thoughts, unless he could defeat Lin Fei. That was impossible, even though Blood One was also a 7th-order Heavenly God Realm Master. He couldn't even last one move against Lin Fei. This was the gap between them. The Cloud Sea country's ruler brought his people to reclaim the Cloud Sea mountain range's mines. The Cloud Sea country erupted in cheers. Lin Fei's name gradually spread throughout the Cloud Sea country and the surrounding countries. When the Blood Fiend country's ruler heard about it, he flew into a rage, smashing many things on the ground. Of course, this was a story for another time. By this time, Lin Fei had returned to the Cloud Sea country on his mountain peak. After recultivating my heaven-defying 12 layers super physique, its power has increased by a large margin, especially my body-tempering, killing moves. Each move has its own unique characteristics, reaching a perfect level. After dismissing the servant, Lin Fei sat in the yard, thinking about the battle. Sword Dao is one of the top 10 schools, and there are indeed people who have excelled in it. For example, the slicing power, incomparably sharp, an average sixth-order heavenly god realm's physique wouldn't be able to block it. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's the bane of body tempering. Lin Fei was very clear that he had the upper hand in the battle. When the power of slicing met with his powerful defense, it was futile. What made Lin Fei the happiest was that his body-tempering killing moves had increased in power, becoming more perfect. Heavenly God Quicksand was at a disadvantage facing this kind of attack for the first time. Body-tempering power can be invisible and colorless, catching him off guard. His physique isn't strong. Naturally, he couldn't block the impact of pure power, so it's normal for him to die. Lin Fei's attack this time was purely to test his strength. If Heavenly God Quicksand knew about this, he would be depressed. He had actually become a lab rat. His reputation would be ruined. After this battle, I believe the people of the Bloody Evil Kingdom won't dare to act recklessly for a while. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes. Unless they can find someone to suppress me. As for killing me, they won't dare to do it openly. This was also the benefit of having a good master. You assassinated my disciple. I want you to die. This was the role of a master, especially when they had a very protective master. Moreover, the master was a great supremacy. Even if they were given 100 guts, they still wouldn't dare to offend him. The competition between the Cloud Sea Nation and the Blood Fiend Nation was not widely publicized. For tens of thousands of years, it wasn't you who suppressed me. It's just that I'm suppressing you. Everyone is used to it. What attracted the most attention was the Cloud Sea country's Lin Fei, a sixth-order heavenly god realm body tempering school cultivator. Being able to kill a seventh-order heavenly god realm Quicksand heavenly god from one of the 10 great sects, the Sword Dao faction, was something to marvel at. Was there going to be another powerful supremacy of the body tempering school? Compared to becoming a supremacy through the Emperor Will path, becoming a supremacy of the body tempering school was more than 100 times more difficult. Any supremacy of the body tempering school was highly sought after. One of them could threaten 2 or even 3 supremacies. Blood Fiend Nation. The Blood Fiend ruler personally came to a mountain peak. The mountain peak was quiet and tranquil, and the scenery was pleasant. Lord Quicksand, this time it was our Blood Fiend Nation's fault for not investigating Lin Fei's strength in time. We are willing to accept punishment. The Blood Fiend ruler was a middle-aged man with a mustache, exuding a sinister aura. Quicksand, heavenly god, waved his hand dismissively. This matter cannot be blamed on you. The Dark Shadow Palace probably didn't know that Lin Fei was so strong. I suspect that he has cultivated at least 3 body-tempering school killing moves. Quicksand, heavenly god's expression was calm. At his level, even if he was angry, he would not show it. This time he had been too arrogant. He did not expect that Lin Fei would be different from what he had heard. He was caught off guard by the other party. The other party's strength was also particularly domineering. For example, the last move. He had been trying to figure out what move to use to block it, but until now he had no clue. That was a move based on strength, and it ignored all defenses. If he wanted to block that move, he would either have to wear a more advanced heavenly deity armor or use a move that was good at defense. Apart from that, there was no other way. The other party's strength was domineering and ferocious, like a flood or a fierce beast. Quicksand, heavenly god, did not expect this. Lin Fei was proficient in calculation. He first numbed himself, and then burst out with a real attack. It was impossible to guard against. Quicksand, heavenly god, was naturally full of hatred for Lin Fei. The Blood Fiend ruler was also worried. 3 body-tempering school killing moves, and the other party was the Great Supremacy's personal disciple. It was really difficult to deal with. Don't look for trouble with Lin Fei in the next 1,000 years. Ruler, you are not his match. Quicksand, heavenly god, said to the Blood Fiend ruler, and then he let the Blood Fiend ruler leave. I don't believe it. Wait for my sword Dao killing move to the next level, and I have a breakthrough. Then I will fight you again. Quicksand, heavenly god, was not a reckless person. If he lost, then he lost. As long as his main body was still here, it did not matter. Quicksand, heavenly god, really did not care about the long years. His heart ached for those few flying swords. Dark Shadow Palace. Great Venerable Han Tian also received the news from his eldest disciple, heavenly god Chongyang. This kid is really a genius. At such a young age, he created a body-tempering killing move. His strength is fierce and terrifying. Anyone who becomes his enemy will be unlucky. Heavenly God Chongyang had been paying attention to this low-key junior brother. He did not expect that this junior brother would bring him a big surprise. More than 60,000 years could make a person dispensable. Compared to Dugu Yijian and the others, Lin Fei was the most low-key one. Of course, this was normal. After all, body-tempering experts were notoriously difficult to cultivate. Great Venerable Han Tian had left one of his avatars outside, and this personal disciple was in a free-range state. Hearing that Lin Fei had cultivated the sacred cloud dragon traversing body to the 6th level and mastered the 2nd level of the sealing soul severing palm, this great venerable laughed. Good job, your potential is unlimited. It had taken great Venerable Han Tian hundreds of thousands of years to advance from the 3rd order heavenly god realm to the 6th order heavenly god realm. Although the sacred cloud dragon traversing body was not a top body tempering technique, the fact that he could cultivate it to this level showed that his potential was unlimited. Go tell Lin Fei to cultivate hard, Great Venerable Han Tian said. It doesn't matter if Venerable One Sword's disciple dies, they won't dare to do anything. They deserve it for being weaker. Heavenly God, Chongyang nodded. He was happy for Lin Fei. If a great Venerable's personal disciple did not have a promising future, it would be a disgrace to their master. They were worried that their master did not care much about this. Chapter 2809. Ever since Yun Hai country's troubles were resolved, Lin Fei entered into cultivation mode once more. He left a message for Yun Hai country's ruler, telling him not to disturb his cultivation unless absolutely necessary. Yun Hai country's ruler nodded repeatedly. At this point, Yun Hai country's ruler only had respect for Lin Fei. One of Blood One's avatars was killed, and Heavenly God Quicksand's avatar was also killed. Yun Hai country's ruler was extremely respectful towards Lin Fei. There was no longer any disrespect. In the Saint Spirit world, the strong ruled supreme. Since Lin Fei did not display his strength at the start, Yun Hai country's ruler naturally looked down on him. Even though there was a respectful expression on his face, it was only to show respect for Lin Fei's identity as his personal disciple. After the battle at the Cloud Sea mountain range, Yun Hai country's ruler was completely convinced that Huang Xiaolong was a body-tempering cultivator. After all, among the 10 great sects, the body-tempering cultivator was one of the more difficult to deal with. This cultivation session took a total of 15,000 years, and this was under the condition of time acceleration. In the outside world, it looked like 5,000 years. My sacred cloud dragon physique has reached the 7th stage. Although it's a little fast, it shouldn't affect me too much. I really have to thank Blood Fiend Ruler for starting a small-scale war. Lin Fei's aura had become stronger. Previously, he had been suppressing it, but now that he could release the 7th stage's strength, even though it was still sealed, it was no longer as uncomfortable as before. Advancing from 7th Order Heavenly God Realm to 8th Order Heavenly God Realm, becoming a High Lord, might be difficult for others, but it's not that difficult for me. The first step is to obtain enough Divine Essence Sand to temper my physique. After that, my goal is to focus on the Divine Essence Sand. Lin Fei sat in the secret chamber, breathing continuously. This was the sound of his blood essence flowing, akin to the surging waves of the sea. ordinary heavenly gods wouldn't be able to withstand the impact of his blood essence. Lin Fei's current cultivation was at Proud Heaven's 7th stage, which was enough for him to compete with a body-tempering cultivator. However, he had yet to reach the perfection stage. Once he reached the perfection stage and used the divine essence sand to temper his physique, he would immediately become a High Lord. Even in the Saint Spirit realm, the origin energy god sand was something that was rare. Previously, he had obtained it from the Dark Shadow Palace. Lin Fei's first thought was to earn contribution points to exchange for the Essence Force God Sand. This idea was quickly rejected. Last time, it was 100 gene. If he were to exchange it again, Lin Fei was worried that others would notice something was off. Divine Elemental Energy Sand was mostly used to refine Heavenly God Realm Divine weapons. Thus, this kind of Heavenly God Realm Divine weapon had another name: Divine Elemental Energy Weapon. Lin Fei wasn't some master refiner, so he naturally couldn't use the God Origin Energy Sand. 100 kilograms was a lot, and it hadn't even been 70,000 years. Yet he wanted the God Origin Energy Sand again. Everyone knew that there was something fishy going on. This was a risk that could not be taken. Lin Fei knew better than anyone that his heaven-defying 12 layers tyrant physique had become extremely perfect after several hundred years of recreation. Especially in terms of the use of strength, it was a combination of hardness and softness. It could become a top-notch physique cultivation technique. What I need to do now is to plunder a large amount of life energy and push my physique to the 7th layer of perfection. Then, I'll go get the God Origin Energy Sand. The best place to plunder a large amount of life energy was to kill some of the Saint Spirit world's most notorious heavenly god experts. The Dark Shadow Palace was in charge of this area. Lin Fei decided to start from there. Dark Shadow Palace Union Yunhai Branch. The Dark Shadow Palace controlled thousands of countries. They had established the Dark Shadow Palace Union, which was feared by everyone in the Saint Spirit world. There were branches in every country. In the Dark Shadow Palace Union, as long as one could afford it, the Union would issue a commission and offer a bounty to kill the other party. As the Union maintained absolute confidentiality and fairness, the Dark Shadow Palace Union quickly became the Saint Spirit world's #1 assassination organization. Regardless of whether it was a personal grudge or something else, one could issue a commission here. As long as one paid a certain amount of money, someone would come to accept the mission. The Dark Shadow Palace Union also became a place for many heavenly god experts to train. Here, not only could one earn money, but they could also train themselves and be liked by heavenly god experts. Apart from assassinations, there were also all sorts of commission missions here. Some were from exploration organizations, and some were from others. There were all kinds of commissions, and they covered a very large area. This was Lin Fei's first time entering the Dark Shadow Palace Union. In the huge hall, people came and went. They were all heavenly gods, and they were all in groups of 3 to 5. There were all kinds of people here. This is Heavenly God Mullah's head and identification. Check it yourself. A burly man threw out a head and a weapon. He stood to the side and watched as the supervisor brought people to check the head's identification. Lin Fei looked around and saw quite a few such scenes. The supervisor in the hall was already used to this. After checking one's identity and registering, everything was done in an orderly manner. This senior, are you here to register as a member of the Dark Shadow Palace Union? Lin Fei looked left and right. Soon, an Emperor Realm middle-aged man walked up to him and asked politely. On his way here, Lin Fei had already understood the basic situation. Lin Fei harumphed softly. This time, Lin Fei's aura was maintained at 7th Order Heavenly God Realm. Senior, this way please. Our people will help you register immediately. One had to register before accepting a mission in the Dark Shadow Palace Union. After registering, a newcomer would be a 1-star shadowed being. Shadowed Being was just a name given to the Dark Shadow Palace Union. Every time a mission was completed, the Dark Shadow Palace would reward a member with a certain amount of points. The Dark Shadow Palace was divided into 10 stars. The lowest rank was a 1-star Shadowed Being, which was the status of a newcomer. The highest was a 10-star Shadowed Being. Anyone who became a Shadowed Being could obtain certain benefits from the Dark Shadow Palace Union based on their star rank. This was also the reason why everyone was willing to register. The Dark Shadow Palace Union, being able to develop to its current level, was closely related to these benefits. The Saint Spirit World Saint Spirit secret arts, killing moves, 10 great sects, and other cultivation techniques were kept in the Dark Shadow Palace Union. As long as one became a star-ranked Shadowed Being, they could obtain these things after paying a certain price. Even divine weapons, armors, and so on were not a problem. Since they were willing to join the Dark Shadow Palace Union, and there were no restrictions, everyone naturally agreed. Let's call him Out Yen. Lin Fei casually picked a name. There was no need to drip a drop of blood on it, and a special token was made. It was said that this token was 1 in a million, and no outsider could replicate it. Chapter 2810. Lin Fei was not in a hurry to look for quests. There were all sorts of missions in the Shadow Palace. Completing each mission would earn him points, so it wasn't difficult for Lin Fei to level up. Up until now, most of the Shadow Men in the Dark Shadow Palace were stuck at 4 or 5 stars. 6 or 7 stars were considered very powerful. As for the 8 or 9 star Shadow Men, there were only a handful of them. 6 or 7 star Dark Shadows were basically all rank 7 heavenly gods. Most of the shadowy figures on the 8-9 star were great supremacies or great supremacies. The Dark Shadow Palace had resources. Those missions on the great 8 great planets were basically reserved by some powerful supremacies. The identity of every great 8 great planet Umbra was top secret. No one knew, and no one dared to ask the Dark Shadow Palace unless they wanted to offend a top powerhouse like Hierarch Umbra. I want a 6 or 7 star mission. When Lin Fei came over with the aura of a rank 7 heavenly god, someone immediately came over with 6 and 7 star missions. Sir, this is the mission you wanted. After handing over the mission, he took the initiative to stand to the side. Any 7th order, heavenly god, realm master wasn't someone they could afford to offend. No one knew when that person had advanced 8th order heavenly god realm. They couldn't afford to offend him. Lin Fei began to look through the missions. Lin Fei didn't care much about the Shadow Man's level. However, for him, who was preparing to plunder a large amount of life essence, using another identity could save him a lot of trouble. When he arrived, Lin Fei had simulated a completely new aura, and his face had also changed. He was a complete stranger. Even those who were familiar with him would not be able to tell who Lin Fei was. According to the little devil, this method was very safe. Even a great sovereign wouldn't be able to see through it. Relieved, Lin Fei assumed the identity of Proud Heaven. 6-star Shadow Mission. Kill the monarch of Wind Moon Nation. Reward: 1 million Saint Spirit Crystals and 500 points. 6-star Shadow Mission. Kill the demon for June. Reward: 1,300,000 Saint Spirit Crystals and 700 points. Lin Fei looked at them one by one. They were all about killing famous heaven gods in the Saint Spirit domain. One could tell the difficulty from the mission itself. Similarly, it was a 6-star Shadow Mission. One could also tell from the rewards. The Saint Spirit Crystal was naturally the currency of the Saint Spirit domain. It was very precious. This won't do. It's too far away. The one from the Temporal Temple seems to be fine. Those from the Massacre God Court are fine too. He read through the missions one by one. Lin Fei decided to start with the 6 to 7 star missions. There weren't too many dangers, so he decided to use them as practice. After all, the targets of these missions were 6th order and 7th order heavenly god realm cultivators. Some of them were quite powerful. Thus, Lin Fei accepted 10 missions in one go. In the Dark Shadow Palace, there were no restrictions on missions. The same mission could be accepted by countless people, and no one could complete it. The reward belonged to whoever. It was very fair. Lin Fei accepted 10 missions as a 1-star Shadow Man and quietly left the Shadow Palace Guild. The most recent mission is for a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Master from the Blood Fiend country, Cult Leader Blood One. What a coincidence! Lin Fei smiled. Last time, I killed one of his avatars. This time, I'll deal with him at the same time. Massacre God Court, Blood Fiend country. Clad in a black robe, Lin Fei snuck into the Blood Fiend country to search for Cult Leader Blood One. According to the mission announcement, this Cult Leader Blood One was one of the Blood Fiend ruler's trusted aides. The Blood Fiend sect was established under the Blood Fiend ruler's orders, and it had quite a bit of influence in the surrounding countries. After I killed Cult Leader Blood One, he must have become more cautious. There's a high chance he's hiding in a secret place. People who entered the Dark Shadow Palace Guild's name list were extremely cautious. Lin Fei could only resort to the stupidest method, searching one by one. As long as he found Cult Leader Blood One, he would die without a doubt. This time, with the identity of Proud Heaven, Lin Fei did not need to hold back. Going all out, Cult Leader Blood One would die in a single move. Lin Fei's Proud Heaven's 7th realm allowed his physical body to easily erupt with the strength of an 8th Order Heavenly God realm, which was equivalent to a High Lord. Moreover, it was a mid-upper High Lord. This was the reason why Lin Fei wanted to become a Shadow expert. Lin Fei began to move about. The Blood Fiend country controlled 38 big cities and several dozen smaller cities. Lin Fei started with the smaller cities, searching them one by one, but he did not find any trace of Cult Leader Blood One. He had killed a branch elder of the Blood Fiend sect, but the only news he got was that Cult Leader Blood One had gone into seclusion. This was good news, but as for where exactly, no one knew. Lin Fei searched through more than a dozen smaller cities, but there was no news. It was as if Cult Leader Blood One had vanished into thin air. The little devil did not find anything. This is the last city. I wonder if he's hiding here. Lin Fei snuck into the last city. The system's powerful searching ability covered the entire city, silently searching without anyone noticing. These cities did not have a High Lord overseeing them, so there was no need to worry about being discovered. Master, that guy is hiding in a secret chamber of the Blood Fiend sect branch. The little devil found something, sending an image to Huang Xiaolong. Inside a dark secret chamber, Cult Leader Blood One was really cultivating, and there was a clone sitting beside him. My luck is really not bad. Both my main body and clone are here. It's just nice to get rid of them together. Without Cult Leader Blood One, the Blood Fiend sect is going to be lively. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed. This person was the Cult Leader Blood One he was looking for. Ever since Cult Leader Blood One's clone was killed, he had been hiding in the Blood Fiend sect. The Dark Shadow Palace had put a bounty on his head. He was afraid that the Shadow experts would come to kill him. Among the Shadow Palace branches, Shadow experts were High Lords, who knew if they would come to kill him. In these several thousand years, Cult Leader Blood One had been extremely careful. Cult Leader Blood One die. Cult Leader Blood One was comprehending a secret killer move when there was a sudden fluctuation in the void. His heart skipped a beat, and he turned pale with fright. In the void, a person rushed out. Oh no! Sect Leader Blood One's scalp went numb. Only supremacies could tear through the void and come here. How could a supremacy come here to kill him? The best proof of a High Lord was that they could travel through the void in the Saint Spirit domain, and they were not afraid of the power of space. A High Lord like Cult Leader Blood One was a little lacking, and he had to rely on the power of a treasure. Cult Leader Blood One turned and ran. The other's aura was too dangerous. Chapter 28:11. It was useless even if sect leader Blood One asked for help. Boundless and terrifying energy rippled out in the secret chamber, and sect leader Blood One was instantly turned into dust. His life force was also instantly plundered. Lin Fei turned around and tore the void apart, escaping far away. Not long after, a figure appeared in the sky above the Blood Fiend sect. His sharp gaze covered the entire sect, and with a flash he appeared in the secret chamber where sect leader Blood One cultivated. What a powerful shockwave! This is definitely the attack of a physique cultivator. Sect leader Blood One couldn't even withstand my arrival and was killed. The person who came was the Blood Fiend ruler. His entire body was covered in black, baleful chi, and only his sharp eyes could be seen. The Blood Fiend ruler did not find any clues left behind by the enemy. A one-hit kill. Could it be the work of the Yun Hai ruler? The Blood Fiend ruler thought to himself, "It can't be the work of the Yun Hai ruler. With such a powerful energy, it must be at least a rank 7 heavenly god physique cultivator. To be able to render sect leader Blood One helpless in such a short time. His strength far surpasses mine." The Blood Fiend ruler did not care much about the death of sect leader Blood One. A sect leader could be easily groomed, and the other party could kill him in a short time. Such a mysterious enemy would give anyone a headache. After Lin Fei killed sect leader Blood One, he immediately left and erased all traces. The next one is also from the Massacre God Court, a ruler with a notorious reputation. Lin Fei used his full strength, and his body ignored the powerful tearing force of the void as he continuously traversed the void. This was the biggest difference between a supremacy and an ordinary heavenly god. Killing a rank 7 heavenly god did not surprise Lin Fei. In his heart, he had a new impression of the power of the physique cultivator. It was indeed worthy of being one of the hardest to deal with among the 10 great sections. Massacre God Court, Splitting Ox ruler. This Splitting Ox ruler was a ferocious general at the Great Circle of the 7th Order, Heavenly God Realm. He loved to start wars, and countless heavenly gods had died at his hands. But on this day, in his own imperial capital, the Splitting Bull ruler encountered a mysterious black-robed man. The moment that mysterious black-robed man appeared, he slapped down with his palm, causing the Splitting Bull ruler's subordinates to suffer heavy casualties. Even the Splitting Bull ruler himself was severely injured. The mysterious black-robed man ignored everyone's attacks and arrived before the Splitting Bull ruler. With a single punch, he smashed the Splitting Bull ruler into pieces before leaving calmly. The entire Splitting Bull country was in an uproar. From start to finish, no one could stop the other party. Even now, everyone was horrified by the surging power. This was a body refinement, heavenly deity expert. His power ferocious and domineering. A month later, in a country under the jurisdiction of the Massacre God Court, an old heavenly god with a fearsome reputation was attacked by a mysterious black-robed man. In front of everyone, the black-robed man killed him with 3 punches, leaving not even his corpse behind. Everyone was in an uproar again. The Massacre God Court had always been extremely domineering, and there were very few people who dared to openly kill their way in. This mysterious black-robed man was undoubtedly challenging the laws of the Massacre God Court. This caused many people to feel displeased. Since when did the usually domineering Massacre God Court allow anyone to make a move, much less in front of the court? Some heavenly god experts began to search for this mysterious black-robed man. Did you hear? That mysterious black-robed man attacked again. It can't be right. He's so daring. Who did he kill this time? A direct descendant of a family with a bad reputation encountered the mysterious black-robed man, and he killed him with a single punch. He couldn't even block the attack. He's too arrogant. This is the Massacre God Court. He's seeking his own death. In the span of 10 years, a mysterious black-robed man appeared in the massacre god court. He was extremely powerful, and even rank 7 heavenly gods were no match for him. At most, he could kill his opponent with 3 punches. Later on, people deduced that this mysterious black-robed man was a body refinement expert, at least a rank 7 heavenly god. He could travel through the void, and he was infinitely close to the supremacy realm. In a short span of 10 years, a total of 23 heavenly gods were killed in the massacre god court. Among them were monarchs, family disciples, and overlords. In a restaurant, the black-robed Lin Fei sat against the wall, quietly drinking wine. In the span of 10 years, Lin Fei completed a total of 23 missions. Among them, there were 7-star missions and 6-star missions, and the majority of them were within the massacre god court's territory. Lin Fei naturally did not stand on ceremony. He completed 9 missions in one go, and after completing a dozen or so missions, the heavenly gods of the massacre god court began to act cautiously. In the span of 10 years, Lin Fei spent almost all his time searching for people. He hid from one place to another, spending a lot of time. Among these heavenly gods, there were some who excelled in concealment, and they were indeed not easy to find. It was easy to kill them, but it was difficult to find them, especially when both the main body and the clone had to be killed at the same time. Anyone at the level of a monarch was qualified to learn the cloning technique. By cultivating a clone, killing them would take some time. Today was Lin Fei's last mission. It was a 7-star mission, and it was also the most difficult 7-star mission. This time, you won't be able to escape. I just don't know if those people will catch up. I'm not fighting back. Do you really think I'm a sick cat? I just can't be bothered to deal with you. In the span of 10 years, some of the tracking experts of the massacre god court had been tracking him. Lin Fei had little fiend, and he had been perfectly concealing his tracks. In the span of 10 years, there were more than 100 heavenly gods looking for him. Master, are you going to kill them later? That's an extremely famous heavenly god, and he has the backing of single-sword supremacy. Lin Fei drank a mouthful of wine, looking at the crowd outside. So, what if he's single-sword supremacy's disciple? In any case, I've already offended him. I'm not afraid of offending another one. Moreover, I've changed everything. They will only know me as Proud Heaven, the Shadow Man of the Dark Shadow Palace, and nothing else. After completing this mission, I should be able to advance to a 6-star Shadow Man. After 23 missions, Lin Fei had plundered a lot of life force, and his physique had improved significantly. This efficiency was incomparable to ordinary people. Master, he's here. Lin Fei casually looked at the sky. A majestic group of people appeared. This was the mission Lin Fei had to complete. He had to snatch a treasure from this group, and the treasure was on the body of a 7th-order heavenly god realm master, Nangon Lihua. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes. He was a disciple of the massacre god court's Nangong family, and was a personal disciple of single-sword supremacy. His reputation was not small. Master, it seems like there are also people eyeing the grade 8 glazed golden lotus. Looks like you have a few more opponents. Little Fiend teased. Lin Fei didn't mind at all, pouring himself a cup of wine. Chapter 28:12. Within the territory controlled by the massacre god court, heavenly god Nangong Lihua was not worried. He only needed to guard against outsiders. Furthermore, they were fully prepared this time. If the people hiding in the dark dared to make a move, today would be their doomsday. I wonder if that mysterious black-robed man will make a move. Heavenly god Nangong Lihua thought to himself. Master, an 8th grade glazed golden lotus is an extremely precious treasure. Why must he give it away? This was something he could not figure out. In the saint spirit realm, rare treasures were usually divided into grades. 1st grade was the lowest, 9th grade was the highest, and there were also extremely special 10th grade treasures. So far, only 3 10th-grade rare treasures had appeared in the entire Saint Spirit realm. Those were the true top-grade treasures that could allow a person's strength to advance by leaps and bounds. An 8th-grade rare treasure became extremely expensive, especially when 9th-grade and 10th-grade treasures rarely appeared. Heavenly God Nangong Lihua was extremely nervous and fearful in the face of such a treasure. After this big city will be close to Heavenly Heart Island. Heavenly God Nangong Lihua was very reassured along the way. If there was any movement, he could send a signal to the big city. Only this place, which was close to the border, was the most dangerous. Everyone, stay alert and guard the good stuff. In the big city below, in a courtyard, a few people sat and watched the image brought by the heavenly mirror. This was a kind of treasure in the Saint Spirit realm. It was a treasure that could be used to watch battles silently. Supreme Lord One Sword is really willing to let Nangong Lihua escort the treasure to Heavenly Heart Island. Fortunately, he didn't come. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a chance to make a move. Heavenly God Yang Feng smiled. After this deal, we can live freely for a long time. Third brother, did you see clearly? Are there any hidden experts among them? These people were from the Saint Spirit realm. They would do anything. Usually, they would take on missions from the Shadow Palace. These kinds of adventure teams were all ruthless people. There were many of them in the Saint Spirit realm. They were cruel, and very few people dared to offend them. Heavenly God Yang Feng was the leader of this team. He even gave them a team name, Heartless. Big brother, only Nangong Lihua's aura is the strongest. The others are all very ordinary. A midget dwarf sitting in the distance says, "It's rumored that Paragon One Sword was heavily injured when he was fighting for the grade 8 glazed golden lotus. That's why he had Nangong Lihua escort him." Yang Feng trusted OL3's words. He wasn't very strong, but he had a special ability that allowed him to sense danger. Anyone could sense danger with just a glance. Relying on this special ability, their heartless adventure team had avoided danger time and time again. When they leave the big city and reach the border, we'll make our move. We can't let anyone beat us to it. The boundaries of the territory controlled by the God of Massacre. This place wasn't close to the Dark Shadow Palace, nor was it close to the Temporal Temple. On this side there were many kingdoms. These kingdoms were scattered, and none of them were easy to deal with. Some were even established by exalted lords. The surrounding kingdoms formed a powerful faction. Among them, Heavenly Heart Island was a special place. Heavenly Heart Island was located in an uninhabited area. The place was known as a dead end, and there was a terrifying illusion array of the Saint Spirit world. Anyone who entered that place would be trapped by the illusion array. Even exalted lords had to be careful. Illusion arrays were one of the most terrifying of the 10 great sects. Illusion arrays could create a world that was both real and fake. Once trapped, no matter how strong one was, they wouldn't be able to display their full strength. Heavenly Heart Sovereign of Heavenly Heart Island was an expert of the illusion array. He was very famous, and although he didn't join the top 3 factions, he was still a very impressive exalted lord in the eyes of the top 3 factions. Heavenly God Nangong Lihua led his people out of the God of Massacre's border. At this time they needed to be careful. No one dared to attack a team in the God of Massacre's territory, let alone a disciple of Exalted Lord. Attack! 5 days after leaving the God of Massacre's territory, Heavenly Deity Yang Feng led his people into action. As soon as they arrived, they immediately set up a void grand array, which sealed this part of the world. Such a void grand array would cost at least tens of millions of Saint Spirit crystals. Such a huge space was sealed, but the people inside could still move around. After sealing the space, Heavenly God Yang Feng took out a bottle and poured it into the array. A green mist appeared, filled with a dangerous aura, and it spread out majestically. After the green mist dispersed, it formed a terrifying attack. The heavenly god at the very front screamed in pain when he was touched by the green mist, and he was corroded into nothingness in less than a few breaths of time. Netherworld ghost poison. Heavenly god Nangong Li Hua's expression changed. You're the damned, heartless adventurer team. Nangong Li Hua, you really have a good eye. Heavenly god Jiang Feng laughed. It's us. We'll slowly enjoy this kind of good stuff. In order to capture you all in one fell swoop, I spent 2/3 of my wealth. The Saint Spirit world had a huge amount of resources that other worlds couldn't compare to. Heavenly God Yang Feng was a 7th order Heavenly God realm cultivator. The reason he was able to make a name for himself was because he was good at using his brain. Against experts, he liked to use treasures and poison. For example, the netherworld ghost poison in front of him was an extremely tyrannical poison. Once it was used, unless an 8th order heavenly god realm cultivator had treasure, they would die without a doubt. This kind of poison was extremely precious. Heavenly god Yang Feng had paid a huge price to obtain a small amount, but it was more than enough to deal with Nangong Li Hua's group. Lin Fei had been following them in the void. The tearing force enveloped his body, but it didn't have any effect on him. What a powerful method, using treasures to deal with the enemy. No wonder they dared to make a move with just 5 people. Lin Fei admired it with interest. Netherworld ghost poison. What a tyrannical poison. It specifically targets the physical body. No wonder they're so confident. Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry. Since Venerable One Sword was escorted by his personal disciples, he definitely had a trump card. It was just a matter of who was more unlucky. Despicable. Despite heavenly god Nangong Li Hua's anger, he immediately called back his disciples. With a wave of his sword, he formed a defensive barrier, blocking the netherworld ghost poison outside. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When the green mist landed on the barrier, it emitted an ear-piercing sound, continuously corroding the barrier. It was extremely tyrannical. How did he get this kind of thing? Wasn't it said to be lost? Chapter 28:13. Empyrean God Yang Feng was the first to attack with the members of the Ruthless Adventurer Group. Compared to besieging them, this method was much more vicious. The first thing they did was an imprisonment formation and the use of an evil poison like netherworld ghost poison. This method was naturally very powerful. Ordinary people really didn't have the ability to kill people by relying on treasures without making a move. Heavenly God Yang Feng didn't seem to feel any pressure, but he was actually worried. The imprisonment formation he set up was not stable. It had a certain time limit and was a one-time consumable. That was the key. Once the time limit was up, the one-time imprisonment formation would disappear. If tens of millions of Saint Spirit crystals could really buy this kind of permanent treasure, who knew how many people would give up their entire fortune to buy it and use it as a treasure in their hands? Tens of millions of Saint Spirit crystals to be able to use the confinement formation once was definitely worth it. We must kill them. Heavenly God Yang Feng didn't dare to go in front of that kind of poison. Even he couldn't block even a wisp of it. Right now, he could only hope that the poison could kill them. After all, the personal disciples of supremacy, One Sword with a number 1 Sword Dao sect. None of them were easy to deal with. The Sword Dao sects of the 10 great sects were not only good at offense, but also good at defense. Although the Nether Ghost poison was powerful, it encountered the strongest Sword Dao defense in front of Nangong Li Hua. Every time he executed a move, his sword intent sliced the Nether Ghost poison, causing its might to constantly decrease. After a short moment of chaos, the disciples of Venerable Lord One Sword immediately returned to normal. A few of them executed their sword arts together and suppressed the invasion of the poison. Time passed by minute. Apart from the casualties at the beginning, no one else suffered any casualties. Heavenly God Nangong Li Hua controlled the rhythm and suppressed the poison to the point where it couldn't float over. Even if some of it escaped, its power was suppressed to the minimum. Emperor God Yangfeng, are you disappointed that your poison didn't work? It looks like your sealing formation is about to reach its end. Nangong Lihua smiled. Without the imprisonment formation, what else do you have other than vicious methods? After stabilizing the situation, Heavenly God Nangong Lihua had nothing to worry about. Heavenly God Yangfeng's expression was very ugly. It said that the Sword Dao School is not only known for its powerful combat strength, but also for its impenetrable defense. What a miscalculation! My efforts are going to be wasted. Looking at the situation in the formation, Heavenly God Yangfeng knew that he was going to fail today. No matter how many calculations he had made, this was the only thing he had not taken into account. It should be said that he had overlooked something. If it was an expert from another school, he would have died without a doubt. Only the Sword School could easily weaken the power of the poison. Retreat! Empyrean deity Yang Feng had always been cautious. Seeing that his plan had failed, he immediately decided to retreat. Once the people inside came out, he would definitely not be a match for them. Sooner or later, he would be killed, and his entire team would be annihilated. Even though he was extremely unwilling, he knew that if he didn't leave now, there wouldn't be many chances left. Once the restraining power of the formation was lost, he wouldn't be able to leave even if he wanted to. Who allowed you to leave? At the instant when Yang Feng retreated, a cold voice rang out. A sword light suddenly appeared in the air, slashing onto Yang Feng's body. Yang Feng's heavenly deity was cut into two. The sword light didn't stop there. It slashed through the bodies of the others one by one. All of them were cut into two and fell from the sky. Not good. I fell into a trap. Yang Feng recovered his physical body. He felt a chill all over his body. He turned and ran, but another sword slashed over from behind, slashing his body. This time he didn't recover. To Empyrean experts, being killed once wouldn't kill them. As long as they had vitality, they could recover. But if they encountered a powerful expert, they would consume a large amount of vitality. 1 or 2 slashes would be enough to kill them. In the air outside, a black-robed old man appeared, emitting an ice-cold sword intent. And all of you die together! The black-robed old man's gaze was ice-cold. With a swoosh, he entered the air. Quickly leave! This is the personal disciple of Paragon One Sword. Retreat! Hurried voices rang out in the surroundings. The black-robed old man was extremely powerful. With the clear wind sword in his hand, heads fell to the ground. No one could block the might of his 2 swords, and all of them turned into corpses. Reckless fools! The trapping formation also disappeared. Nangong Lihua and his group also regained their freedom. The might of the netherworld, ghost poison, was weakened to the limit. Thank you, senior brother, for killing these people. Nangong Lihua sneered. The black-robed old man was Nangong Lihua's senior brother, Empyrean god Cold-Blood. They even dared to touch Master's things. I thought some powerful people would make a move, but in the end, it's just a bunch of ants. The black-robed old man was quite disappointed. None of these people could block the might of his 2 swords. They were too weak. With this kind of strength, they dared to make a move. Humph. This time, they brought Master's things over. In fact, one was in the dark and one was in the light. They wanted to lure those people into a trap and catch them all in one fell swoop. They didn't expect that they would be some small fish. Killing them was quite boring. Apart from a few sects that could block the attacks of the Sword Dao sect, these people were naturally very boring. The trouble is solved. Let's hurry to Heavenly Heart Island. Nangong Lihua said. Empyrean god Cold-Blood nodded. There was no one hiding in the surroundings. The moment they relaxed, a hand reached out from the void. This hand was very ordinary and ordinary. It grabbed at them and space was sealed. Not good. Nangong Lihua and the heavenly blood kill god quivered. There was actually someone hiding in the dark, able to hide from them. The Sword Dao sect was one of the top 10 sects, and they were the most sensitive to killing intent. To be able to hide from them, this person was at least a 7th order heavenly god realm master, perhaps an expert proficient in concealment. But when the other party made his move, the two of them paled, feeling the danger coming from the palm. This was definitely not a threat from a 7th order heavenly god realm master. A terrifying thought rose in their minds. A high lord. Despite being mentally prepared, the two of them were still shaken. Suppressing the uneasiness in their hearts, they executed the Sword Dao sect's killing move. Sword Qi crisscrossed the space in the palm, eclipsing the sun and moon. The giant palm slowly closed. The Sword Dao attack did not stop the palm from closing. Terrifying energy rippled out from the space in the palm. The two of them fell into despair. This was the attack of a High Lord, moreover. It was a physical body High Lord Master of the Body Tempering School. This was akin to taking their lives. Our Master is the solitary sword High Lord. The heavenly blood kill god shouted. After a loud bang, the giant palm closed, erasing all life. Chapter 28:14. Nangong Lihua was escorting the Grade 8 treasure to Heavenly Heart Island. Although it was a secret, it wasn't completely sealed. In any case, the news had already leaked. The Grade 8 glazed golden lotus was useless to ordinary people, but to experts of the illusion path it was a good thing. It could refine treasures that could assist in the illusion path. In the saint spirit world, there were many experts of this path. Naturally, some people had their own ideas. Single sword supremacy was famous for being domineering. Moreover, he was from the massacre god court. No one dared to snatch it from him. It didn't mean that they didn't have any ideas. They could issue missions. While they were escorting the treasure, someone secretly followed them. After Empyrean deity Yangfeng and the others made their move, many people began to observe. If Empyrean deity Yangfeng obtained it, they wouldn't mind taking advantage of him. Nangong Lihua was stronger than they had imagined, and he even had a personal disciple. He killed those who tried to attack him, allowing them to witness the power of the Sword Dao school. But they didn't expect that someone would secretly attack and kill them in one move. No matter how they counterattacked, they couldn't escape. Under a single palm, they were turned into ashes. This caused everyone to be shocked. Just which expert was it that had made the move? Maybe it's a supreme Lord Powerhouse. Someone exclaimed. Between the Sword Dao school and the Chain Body school, one claimed to have the strongest offense, while the other claimed to have the strongest defense. They had always been at loggerheads, and only a body tempering supremacy could ignore an attack from a Sword Dao killer move. Once this guess was made, everyone couldn't remain calm. A miraculous 8th grade treasure had attracted a body tempering supremacy powerhouse. This was a sensational event. The person who secretly attacked was naturally Lin Fei. 2 personal disciples, one in the open and one in the dark, were indeed good methods. But in front of Lin Fei, they weren't enough. Empyrean deity Yang Feng's methods also broadened Lin Fei's horizons. If one's martial strength wasn't enough, they could attack from another place. Unfortunately, they encountered a Sword Dao school expert. Not only were their attacks tyrannical, but their defenses were also very impressive. They blocked Empyrean deity Yang Feng's methods and eventually died in the hands of a Sword Dao school expert. This wasn't an injustice at all. To Lin Fei, there was not much of a difference between 1 and 2 personal disciples. Lin Fei attacked in a domineering manner. With a single move, plucked the stars and seized the moon, he violently and domineeringly killed the 2 personal disciples and successfully obtained the treasure. No matter how they hid it, from the first glance he knew where it was. With the item in hand, Lin Fei immediately retreated and traversed through the void. As for how those people would guess, Lin Fei couldn't be bothered to care. The mission was completed. In the same place, The experts of Heavenly Heart Island had arrived. He was a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm Master, a middle-aged man dressed like a scholar, exuding a scholarly air. It was hard to associate him with a 7th Order Heavenly God Realm. What an overbearing power! Although they couldn't see anything from the scene. With just a glance, this person revealed a grave expression. The domineering energy ripples were the most obvious. Since when did the Saint Spirit domain have another supremacy of the body tempering school? The middle-aged scholar frowned. This is going to be difficult. Other than a supremacy, no one else would be able to use the energy ripples left behind at the scene. Could it be a rogue cultivator? I'll have to have a good talk with them. On a majestic mountain peak, clouds and mist shrouded it. Nangon Lihua and Heavenly Blood Kill God were respectfully standing in front of a young man. This young man had a fair complexion and was extremely handsome. It was hard to associate him with a supremacy. This young man was Single Sword Supremacy, who had a very high status in the Massacre God Court. Master, that person was too strong. Our sword, Tao-killing moves couldn't do anything to him at all. We were killed in a single exchange. Nangon Lihua lowered his head and said, both of them were helpless. Such an expert had appeared and killed them with a single killing move of the body tempering school. This loss was too unreconciled. You don't need to blame yourselves. Single Sword Supremacy said indifferently, it's normal that you couldn't stop a supremacy of the body tempering school. Single Sword Supremacy didn't care much about a Tier 8 mystical treasure. You can leave now. Arrange for someone to investigate the whereabouts of this mystical treasure. A body tempering school supremacy wouldn't be able to use this item. He would definitely take it out for a trade. Single Sword Supremacy slowly poured himself a cup of fragrant tea. I originally wanted to build a relationship with the Skyheart Island Lord. Now, you can just wait to be hated by the Skyheart Island Lord. That's perfect. Those people won't have any excuses anymore. Humph. Dark Shadow Palace. In a Dark Shadow Palace Union, a black-clothed Lin Fei walked into the Union. He came to a window and threw out his identification. I'm here to submit a mission. This kind of situation was repeated every day in the Dark Shadow Palace Union. No one would pay attention to it. I wonder which mission you've completed. Lin Fei waved his hand. A bloody aura enveloped the hall. These are the missions I've completed. You can arrange for someone to check them. There's also this. Lin Fei threw out the last item. It was a sealed, glazed golden lotus. Immediately, someone's eyes lit up as he recognized a corpse. Isn't that the Crushing Ox Country Lord of the Massacre Court? Yes, it's really him. Also, that seems to be the identification of Sect Leader Blood One. Heavens, who is this guy? That's a 6-star mission. Look at the top. That seems to be an 8th grade, glazed golden lotus. It's an extremely difficult 7-star mission. The heavenly gods in the hall all sucked in a breath of cold air. Recently, an expert had appeared in the Massacre Court and killed several country lords. Every time, he killed them in a domineering manner. After the news spread, many people knew about it. This was especially true for those who were preparing to kill their targets, only to discover that their targets had been killed. One was dumbfounded, while the other was carrying out a mission. Who wouldn't be cautious? However, it was extremely rare for someone to be so straightforward. 6-star mission. Kill Sect Leader Blood One completed. The person checking was very meticulous. Every time he confirmed a mission, he would swipe his identification. It can't be right. This person is even a 1-star shadow man. Someone exclaimed. This was too unbelievable. This was a complete newcomer. Everyone was dumbfounded. The person checking also sucked in a breath of cold air. Where did this expert come from? He actually completed so many missions in one go. A 7-star mission, a 6-star mission, and a 7-star mission. The number of missions also increased from 4 to 5 to 12. The level of the Shadow Man also increased. 1-star Shadow Man, 2-star Shadow Man, 3-star Shadow Man, 4-star Shadow Man. His level rose too quickly. Lin Fei's understanding of the Shadow Man level had also reached 6-star. 23 missions. Very soon, someone calculated the missions. Chapter 28:15. The Dark Shadow Palace Association had always accepted all kinds of missions and sold all kinds of information at the same time, forming a unique existence. Although some people also took this path, it was far from the Dark Shadow Palace Association in terms of scale. In addition, the Dark Shadow Palace Association was fair and gave all kinds of benefits. Countless Heavenly God experts came to the Dark Shadow Palace Association to accept missions. Every time the Shadowed Ones came back to submit their missions, they would all be in the Dark Shadow Palace Hall. In the countries controlled by the Dark Shadow Palace, no one dared to do anything, and no one dared to behave atrociously in the Dark Shadow Palace Association. That was purely courting death. When the missions were submitted, it became a time for everyone to watch the show. At this time, they had the opportunity to broaden their horizons. Today, a super newcomer came to the Dark Shadow Palace Association, blinding many people. Until the last item was submitted, the entire hall was in an uproar. Could he be the mysterious black-robed man who appeared and disappeared in the massacre court? Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This was really a mysterious expert. To be able to kill experts like the Lord of Massacre in the massacre court, he was really a first-class expert. The news that a fierce person had appeared in the Dark Shadow Palace Association quickly spread among the Shadowed Ones. The other party had completed 20 missions in a single breath, and they were all either 6-star or 7-star missions. Especially the last mission, he had taken advantage of Paragon 1's sword and snatched an 8th grade glazed golden lotus. This had caused an uproar. This was definitely a fierce person. Some busybodies secretly remembered this name. Out Yen. A very domineering name, just as domineering as his name. Moreover, this was a body refinement expert. No one knew where he had come from. There were too few body refinement experts. Those who could cultivate to a certain level were almost all famous in the Saint Spirit domain. But this person, besides his name, there was no other useful information. What shocked the Shadowed Ones the most was that after this newcomer completed the mission, he accepted 30 more missions on the spot and then left. This caused quite a commotion in the circle. A shadowed one newcomer from the Dark Shadow Palace Association. Other than being noticed at the beginning, as time passed, he was quickly replaced by other Shadowed Ones. There were countless Shadowed Ones in the Dark Shadow Palace Association. It was normal for a powerful person to emerge from a branch, especially after the news about the 8th grade glazed golden lotus spread. Everyone realized that the Saint Spirit domain had one more powerful body-tempering martial artist. There were even rumors that this proud sky god might be a martial artist at the supremacy level. This news was definitely sensational. Many people didn't believe it. It wasn't easy to see a body-tempering supremacy powerhouse, so they didn't believe it. Heavenly God Out Yen's name quickly spread throughout the Saint Spirit realm. His name was also remembered by everyone. This heavenly deity Out Yen. Every time he attacked, he was ferocious and tyrannical. His close-range attacks were practically invincible. Heavenly deities of the same level couldn't even capture him. They could only watch helplessly as he left. As time went on, Empyrean God-proud Heaven's name began to spread. In particular, on a certain mission, the target was a powerhouse of a sovereign nation. That sovereign nation powerhouse invited a group of good friends to help him. And there were even powerhouses of the body transformation path among them. Their lineup was huge, but they were unable to stop the other party. They killed their way out of the army, killed the sovereign nation powerhouse, and defeated the heavenly deity powerhouse. If that was all, everyone would only think that he was brave and not take him seriously. After the exalted Lord had intervened, Proud Heaven had been able to easily block the exalted Lord's attack. His status had skyrocketed, and in the end, the exalted Lord had no choice but to let him go. This venerable Lord's potential wasn't very high. Being able to block his attack was already a feat. Everyone knew that Eighth Order Heavenly God realm body tempering cultivators were not to be trifled with. At this point, Heavenly Deity Ao Tion's name had spread far and wide. Those Heavenly Deity powerhouses who knew that they had been targeted by a supremacy powerhouse all hid here and there, being extremely careful. But in the end, they were still killed. In the span of 1,000 years, Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity's name became a name that caused people to tremble with fear upon hearing it. In the short span of 1,000 years, this Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity had been completing all kinds of missions, killing saint spirit worlds, heavenly gods, especially after he had the strength to contend against a supremacy powerhouse. Everyone was afraid of him. Those heavenly gods who had a mission in the Dark Shadow Palace Union prayed time and time again that they wouldn't be chosen. They really couldn't stop such a fierce persona. Even the supremacies laughed when they found out about this. It wasn't rare for them to take on missions in the Shadow Palace. Many of them would change their appearance to take on missions and use it to gain experience, and so on. Especially when this person was a body-tempering cultivator, no one was willing to offend him. Everyone knew that a body-tempering cultivator with the strength to contend against a supremacy powerhouse was hard to deal with. Even if he wasn't a supremacy powerhouse, he was infinitely close to it. Unless you could kill him in one go, if he escaped, you could only wait for your bad luck. This Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity was very law-abiding, never interfering in other people's matters. Other than completing missions, he followed the rules, so naturally no one would say anything. Revenge was naturally another matter. On the Dark Shadow Palace Union side, Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity's level had also risen from the initial 1-star Shadow Man to the current 7-star Shadow Man. He wasn't far from becoming an 8-star Shadow Man. In more than 1,000 years, going from a 1-star to a 7-star Shadow Man was definitely as fast as flying. Although there was a difference of 1 word between a 6-star and a 7-star mission, the difficulty was very high. Sometimes a mission would take more than 10 years, and this was considered short. For those that were longer, it was very normal for a mission to take 100 years. There might not be many people like Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity in the entire Dark Shadow Palace Union. Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity is here again. Amazing! It seems like the last time he came to submit a mission was less than 100 years ago. You're behind the times. What 100 years? This time it's 65 years. This person is really full of missions. I reckon he'll become an 8-star Shadow Man soon. Maybe he can reach that level by submitting a mission this time. Don't forget, I heard that there's an 8-star mission in this time's mission, and Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity completed it alone. When Lin Fei, dressed in black, walked into a branch, he was immediately recognized. 1,000 years was enough for everyone to know what Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity looked like. It was hard not to know this crazy person who did missions. There had never been a mission that Proud Heaven, Heavenly Deity couldn't complete. Even if he was surrounded and attacked, he would kill a few times and blood would flow like a river. It was hard not to know him. I'm here to submit a mission and find someone to check it myself. Chapter 28:16. The appearance of these corpses caused quite a commotion again, although everyone had heard that Heavenly God Outyin was very powerful. But every time he came to complete a mission, he would not be in the same place. No one had ever seen someone submit 20 to 30 missions in one go. This time it was really an eye-opener for everyone. The young Shadow Man was full of admiration for Heavenly God Outyin. What a badass! Only an amazing person could do this. TSK, amazing. He submitted 45 7-star missions in one go. Everyone's eyes were wide open. There were also some 7-star Shadow Men in the hall who could not help but gasp, especially when they heard that it took a total of more than 60 years. They could not remain calm. This was too crazy. No wonder he could make a name for himself in 1,000 years. It was really not easy. An 8-star shadow man. Someone exclaimed, his eyes wide open. After every mission was checked, the points would be redeemed immediately. When the last mission was completed, the color of the shadow man's identity card changed. It was no longer black, but purple gold, very conspicuous and noble. This was the identity card of an 8-star shadow man. My goodness, an 8-star shadow man. This is the first time I've seen one. What an eye-opener. So this is the identity card of an 8-star shadow man. It is indeed different. I can't believe I'm lucky enough to see an 8-star shadow man appear. An 8-star shadow man's identity is very noble. It is said that they can become the Shadow Palace Union's worshippers and get a lot of benefits and certain privileges. Any one of the 8-star shadow warriors was the cream of the crop. Almost everyone had never seen them. At most, they had heard of their names. It was the first time they had seen it with their own eyes. Such an opportunity might only come once, because no one knew when the next time would come. Congratulations to Lord Outyen for becoming an 8-star shadow man. The middle-aged man in charge of the inspection said respectfully, returning the purple gold identity card with both hands to Heavenly God Outyen. The president of our union branch will be here soon. Please wait for a moment, Lord. For the Shadow Palace Union, the appearance of any 8-star shadow man was a very important matter. Actually, when he came in, someone immediately recognized him. They immediately went to inform him. This was a stock with great potential. The only unexpected thing was that the other party came a little too quickly. 65 years to complete all the missions. It was too crazy. There was almost no rest. The guild leader is here. The Dark Shadow Palace's branch chief had always been a Peak 7th Order, Heavenly God, Realm, Heavenly God. The branch leader, Heavenly God Tongshan, arrived with a group of people. It was the first time for many of them to meet this branch president. Normally, they wouldn't have the chance to do so. I was wondering why there were magpies chirping at the entrance today. So it's because Brother Proud Heaven has become an 8-star shadow being. Heavenly God Tongshan was very enthusiastic, and his eyes were about to light up. Naturally, Heaven God Proud Heaven was none other than Lin Fei, and he nodded indifferently. Heavenly God Tongshan didn't mind in the slightest. It had been a very, very long time since an 8-star dark shadow being had appeared in their branch. It was a great thing to see one appear in their own branch. In the past few hundred years, many people had been saying that Proud Heaven God was a Supreme Lord powerhouse. Although Proud Heaven God didn't say anything, there was one thing that everyone believed. This was a powerhouse that had the strength to fight against a supremacy. A body refinement cultivator, indeed, had the ability to do so. Brother Proud Heaven, it is a good thing for our branch that you have become an 8-star dark shadow being. Please do us the honor and come inside. Heavenly God Tongshan invited. Sure. Lin Fei replied indifferently. Once a Shadow Palace's dark shadow being became an 8-star dark shadow being, it was equivalent to having special authority. As for what that authority was, no one knew. Lin Fei naturally wanted to see it for himself. After 1,000 years of completing missions and finally becoming an 8-star dark shadow being, it was time for him to take a break. Heavenly God Tongshan was holding a potential list in his hand. On this list were some dark shadow beings with relatively high potential. After reaching a certain level, one could try to recruit them. Proud Heaven God's ranking was very high. Every branch would try to recruit him for the Dark Shadow Palace. However, this Heavenly God, Proud Heaven God, came and then left. There was almost no trace of him. When they heard that he had completed a certain star-ranked mission, Heavenly God Tongshan did not expect to encounter such a good thing. According to the huge intelligence agency of the Dark Shadow Palace, even now, they still did not know who this Heavenly God Proud Heaven was. His techniques and attacks were all very unfamiliar, but they were also very powerful. In the Saint Spirit realm, powerful body refinement techniques, such as the Heavenly God Physique, were all very well known. One could recognize them with just a few glances. However, this heavenly god Proud Heaven was very unfamiliar. There was no record of him. It was as if he had appeared out of nowhere. Even though he was very unfamiliar and mysterious, the people of the Dark Shadow Palace discussed it. They were determined to recruit this heavenly god Proud Heaven and make him a worshipped member of the Dark Shadow Palace. Even if they did not have the opportunity, they still had to establish a good relationship with him. An 8-star Dark Shadow being was very important, especially this one who was a body refinement cultivator. Heavenly God Tongshan asked someone to bring some good food to entertain him. Then he ordered someone to bring the food over. Brother Proud Heaven, you have just become an 8-star Dark Shadow being. You probably don't know some secrets, right? Heavenly God Tongshan smiled. Seeing that Jiang Qin did not object, his smile became even more radiant. I really don't. Lin Fei pretended to be at a loss. In reality, Lin Fei really didn't know the secrets behind this. There was no news about it, so no one knew. The Dark Shadow Palace places great importance on every 8-star Dark Shadow being. For example, 8-star Dark Shadows will receive better benefits in the Dark Shadow Palace, and they will receive a certain amount of salary. Apart from that, they can also purchase any information. Heavenly God Tongshan got to the main point. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that 8-star Dark Shadows can participate in some special missions. These missions cannot be accepted in the main hall, and the rewards are also very generous. Heavenly God Tongshan had been paying attention to the changes in his opponent. His opponent was very calm, and Heavenly God Tongshan could not figure out what he was thinking. Special missions? I wonder what the rewards are. Lin Fei said indifferently. He was a little interested in special missions, especially the rewards. The Dark Shadow Palace was behind the Dark Shadow Palace. Lin Fei had an idea. Chapter 28:17. The identity of an 8-star Dark Shadow was very popular in the Shadow Palace Guild. Actually, Lin Fei already knew what the benefits were before he arrived. He wasn't too sure. There wasn't much news about it. As President Tongshan accepted the benefits in detail, Lin Fei had a rough idea of the benefits. After becoming an 8-star Shadow Man, he could purchase any information from the Shadow Palace Union without any restrictions. The price was also discounted, and his authority was also liberalized. The Dark Shadow one could get information from the Shadow Palace Union. There were different levels of information. Not everyone could get their hands on high-level secrets. An 8-star Dark Shadow did not have this restriction. In addition, they could participate in secret and special missions with the Shadow Palace. The rewards they received could also be converted into contribution points and exchanged for items at the Shadow Palace. Only an 8-star Shadow Man could participate in such a good thing. During this period, Lin Fei tactfully rejected the other party's attempts to rope him in. He expressed that he was used to being alone and didn't want to get involved in too many things for the time being. Spread the news of Proud Sky God becoming an 8-star Shadow one immediately. After sending off Proud Heaven, Heavenly God Clear Mountain immediately sent a message to the higher-ups. The appearance of an 8-star Dark Shadow would attract a lot of attention. Should we send someone to follow him? No need. Heavenly God Tongshan shook his head. This person is a lone wolf, and he's able to battle normal supremacies. It's not a good idea to offend him, but if we can't recruit him, then we'll work together. Our Dark Shadow Palace is backed by the Dark Shadow Palace, so we have all the resources we need. He'll definitely cooperate with us. The Shadow Palace needed this kind of body-tempering expert. The news about the Shadow Palace having an 8-star Shadow user spread like wildfire. When everyone learned that it was Heaven God Proud Heaven, they didn't react much. After all, there were rumors that he was crazy about missions, and perhaps he was aiming to become an 8-star Shadow one. Now that it had risen, it couldn't be more normal. Some of the rulers under the jurisdiction of the Dark Shadow Palace were tempted to try to recruit him and make him one of their worshippers. In addition to the rulers, some of the independent factions were also trying to get in touch with Proud Heaven. After Ao Tianshan left the city, he disappeared without a trace. Everyone could only watch helplessly. This person really concealed himself deeply. The void-traversing ability of a celestial deity powerhouse was used in a very realistic manner. There was basically no one who could catch up to him. Cloud Sea Nation. Lin Fei quietly returned to the Cloud Kingdom. In the past 1,000 years, he had been doing missions. Lin Fei's heaven, defying 12th layer tyrant body, had a certain improvement. The past 1,000 years were not in vain. Xiao Chen's grasp of all sorts of secret techniques and killer moves had reached the point of perfection. He could use them as he pleased. The Cloud Sea Kingdom had been very peaceful for 1,000 years. After Blood Evil Kingdoms, Sect Master Blood One had been killed by him. The Blood Evil Sect had been in chaos for a while. In addition, he had killed 7 to 8 great monarchs in the massacre court, which had disrupted everyone's thoughts. Empyrean god Quicksand disappeared without a trace. If my 7-fold proud heavenly body goes all out, the attack of an ordinary high Lord Powerhouse won't be able to do anything to me. But if I were to encounter a high lord from one of the 10 great sects, I would still feel some pressure. Lin Fei still remembered the few times he had encountered a high lord's clone. That kind of continuous attack was indeed powerful and terrifying. Only a body-tempering cultivator like him could withstand it. After doing missions for 1,000 years, it's not like I haven't gained anything. I've learned a lot about the Essence Force Godsand. Now is the time to get my hands on it. Don't be fooled by the fact that the past 1,000 years were crazy. Lin Fei's goal had been achieved. Lin Fei had quietly learned about the Essence Force Godsand through various channels. The Shadow Palace Union was one. There was Essence Force Godsand in it. Lin Fei had created an identity of proud heavenly. Now that he was qualified to obtain it, he wouldn't arouse too much suspicion. This was also the reason why he desperately wanted to level up and become an 8-star Shadow Warrior. I have to participate in the Shadow Palace Union's special mission. I have to go to another place too. The Essence Force God Sand belonged to an alternate dimension. Lin Fei didn't know the specific location. It was rumored that only the great supremacies knew about it. Generally, they didn't excavate it. In the entire Saint Spirit realm, other than the top forces, only the Saint Spirit realm's Sky River Nation had this thing. The Sky River Nation was an independent world. The Sky River Nation was at the border of the Saint Spirit realm. It was next to the mysterious Black Domain. Sometimes Essence Force Quicksand would appear. All of it floated out from the Black Domain. Lin Fei's goal was the Sky River Nation. Over the years, he had grasped the basic information of the Sky River Nation. It was a very chaotic place. It was known as the paradise of the wicked. Killing and robbing were commonplace there. There, it was the power of one's fist. Whoever's fist was bigger would have the most power. The High Lords had never been able to do anything about that place. Several High Lords had gathered there, and no one knew where they had obtained a secret art that allowed them to use the power of the Black Domain. They had refined a secret weapon called the Black Domain Cannon, and it had the power to kill High Lords. It had also become a great killing weapon. The 3 top forces didn't care about it. The other supremacies didn't have the leisure to do so. They arranged their own people, forming a chaotic place. He came back to rest for 10 years. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fei decided to go to the Sky River Nation, first to try his luck and see if he could get his hands on Essence Force Quicksand. If he was lucky, that would be the best. If he couldn't, he could only think of another way. He had to get his hands on Essence Force Quicksand. Lin Fei went to the Sky River Nation. It took him a year to travel from the Cloud Nation to the Sky River Nation. This was the speed of travel. It showed how big the Saint Spirit realm was. Black Domain. Just as he came out of the void, the distant sky was black. It was like a huge curtain, revealing a terrifying aura that made people tremble in fear. Lin Fei stood in midair and frowned. This is really a dangerous place. The whole world was black. It was so dark that it was terrifying. The Sky River Nation was just outside the Black Domain. That should be the Sky River. The Sky River Nation was named the Sky River Nation because of the Sky River in the sky. Lin Fei first saw the Black Domain. Then he saw a wide sky river with surging waves. It was mighty and domineering. Under the Sky River, there was a big country called the Sky River Nation. What a special place! The Sky River came out of the Black Domain, but it can still bring out things. It's really rare. No wonder all the major forces placed their people here and divided everything that the Sky River brought out, forming a situation where the 8 major forces dominated. Basic information about the Sky River Nation appeared in Lin Fei's mind. Chapter 28:18. The distance from the Heavenly River Country to the center of the Heavenly River Country took 4 to 5 days. Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry along the way. When he arrived at the periphery of the Heavenly River Country, he noticed something. Those who could come here were basically in groups of 3 to 5 people. It was rare to see someone coming alone like him. At most, they would come in a large group. These groups looked like caravans, numbering in the hundreds. Each of them had a solemn expression on their faces as they stood on guard. When they saw Lin Fei walking alone, many of the caravans laughed. That's an ignorant one. How can he travel alone in the Heavenly River Country? Although the Heavenly River Country was ruled by the 8 families, it was still very chaotic. In this periphery, there were all kinds of cruel and merciless people. Those who came to the Heavenly River Country alone basically didn't have a good ending. This had become the consensus of everyone. If Lin Fei was alone, it would be easy for others to attack him. Sure enough, on the second day, Lin Fei encountered 3 Heavenly God realm cultivators. The moment they arrived, they threatened him. Are you going to surrender? Or are the 3 of us going to cripple you? All 3 of them were 4th or 5th order Heavenly God realm cultivators. Facing Lin Fei at this time, they were full of confidence. If they captured him and sold him as a slave, then sent him to a dangerous place to do hard labor, no one would know. Lin Fei knew that some chaotic places in the Saint Spirit world liked to use all kinds of slaves. There were also slave auctions, all of which were captured Heavenly God realm cultivators. From the moment Lin Fei entered the periphery of the Heavenly River Country, he was already targeted. A Heavenly God realm cultivator was easy to sell. No matter where he went, he didn't need to worry about any trouble, especially when he was alone. Lin Fei chuckled. This guy was treating him as someone easy to deal with. Lin Fei knew about the slave auctions in the Heavenly River Country, but he didn't expect himself to become their target. What a joke. Humph. Lin Fei snorted coldly. With a shake of his body, the 3 of them were crushed into dust. This was the first wave. Along the way, Lin Fei encountered a total of 3 groups of people. Each group came to capture him, and the outcome was the same. All of them were shaken into powder and could not be more dead. This also made Lin Fei realize that the Tianhe Kingdom was completely different from other countries. It was really a place where the fist was the biggest. If one didn't have the strength, they would be eaten clean, and they might even have to work hard for the rest of their lives. There was no shortage of such people in the mining area. Lin Fei leisurely headed to the Tianhe Kingdom. When the merchants saw that Lin Fei was alive and kicking, they were also dumbfounded. Even their merchant caravans had to be very careful. Yet the other party was able to travel unhurriedly by himself. This was definitely a display of strength. After all, it was impossible to travel alone without strength. 5 days later, Lin Fei arrived at the Sky River Kingdom. At the same time, he felt a dangerous aura coming from the Black Domain. He tried to use his divine sense to check it out, but it was blocked by the Black Domain. His divine sense could not penetrate it. It was the same for Little Devil. She couldn't see through the Black Domain. The Sky River Kingdom was a huge city, very large. There were no guards at the city gate, which was completely different from other places. Kill them. Don't run. Lin Fei just came in from the outside and saw the heavenly god and great emperor masters chasing after a few people. The surrounding people looked indifferent, as if they were used to it. It's the heavenly wolf gang again. Who told their big brother to rely on the Zhao family of the 8 great families? They must perform well. People around whispered. Lin Fei observed for a while and really noticed that they all had tattoos on their arms. All of them were wolf heads. The few people were quickly killed by the heavenly god masters of the heavenly wolf gang, leaving their corpses on the ground. After they left, someone immediately came out to clean up the corpses. After a while, the street was restored to its usual appearance. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have known that the Sky River Kingdom was in such a mess. Killing people on the street, this was impossible in the territory controlled by the 3 ultimate gods. Lin Fei found a seemingly large inn and booked a courtyard. The price was not cheap, but it was quiet and no one would come to disturb him. In the courtyard, as long as one looked up, one could see the heavenly river. It was because of this heavenly river that the Sky River Kingdom had today's status and became an independent world. Lin Fei stayed in the inn of the Sky River Kingdom. He was not in a hurry. He paid some saint spirit crystals and inquired about the situation of the Sky River Kingdom. After half a month, he had a more specific understanding of the Sky River Kingdom. The Sky River Kingdom was divided into a total of 8 regions. Each region was controlled by one of the 8 great families. Everyone minded their own business and lived in harmony. Each family had a large number of bandits and murderers under their command. They controlled the matters in their regions, as if they had built a small kingdom. Lin Fei's priority was to inquire about the godly Yuanli sand. After inquiring, he really found some clues. It turned out that the heavenly river of the Sky River Kingdom was connected to the Black Domain. It was not that no one wanted to enter from the heavenly river. Every expert who entered the heavenly river would eventually die inside and come out as a corpse. After a long time, no one had this idea anymore. The 8 great families arranged for the Sky River Guards to guard the entrance of the heavenly river and collect the things that came out of the heavenly river. Among them, the godly Yuanli sand was considered relatively precious. It appeared once in 100 years, and the amount of godly Yuanli sand varied each time. Last time, a total of godly Yuanli sand appeared, which was the least in history. It was rumored that in this 100 years, godly Yuanli sand would appear in large quantities. This news was good for Lin Fei. There were still 37 years until the 100 years time limit, so it could be considered timely. As for buying it from the auction house, this news had not spread yet. 37 years. Lin Fei could afford to wait. Lin Fei spent most of his time in the yard, rarely going out. The workers outside would take the initiative to report to him if they had any news. Encountering such a generous person, the workers didn't mind profiting a bit. "You guys can't go in." Lin Fei waited patiently, but there really was something that came his way. The Heavenly Wolf Gang is handling matters. All unrelated people scrammed to the side. A 5th Order Heavenly God Realm leader led more than 20 Emperor Realm Masters, surrounding the yard. When the workers heard that it was the Heavenly Wolf Gang, they immediately retreated, not daring to approach. "Captain, the people inside are not giving our Heavenly Wolf Gang any face. Capture them and send them to do hard labor." A shifty-eyed fellow beside Huang Xiaolong said. The Heavenly Wolf Gang had established their own rules in this area. Any outsider who entered would have to pay protection fees. 100 saint spirit crystals a day was equivalent to 30,000 saint spirit crystals a month. This was not a small sum. Relying on this, the Heavenly Wolf Gang made a lot of money. But now, someone actually disobeyed the rules. A captain of the Heavenly Wolf Gang had brought his men over.